Hey, how you doing? It's Zuko, and today we got a doozy of a video. As you can see, we are talking about Wonder Festival 2024 Summer. A lot of announcements at this event, and we're going to go through as much as possible. Though for some reason, call it a hunch, I'm not really sure why I'm feeling this way. I don't think this event specifically is going to be for me. It might just be like what's popular right now, not really catering to my tastes, and that's perfectly fine. Can't expect everything to just be made for me, right? Though because of that, I kind of feel like turning this video into a little bit of a game of sorts. We're on a quest, you see, and feel free to play along if you would like. I'm looking for 5 brand new announcements that I would like to add to my wish list. Don't have to guarantee buy them, I just want to see stuff that I'm excited about and might potentially get in the future. So if we reach 5, I'm going to consider this a very good event for me. Side quest though, I'm also going to be looking for 5 figures that were updated at this event. So new prototype shown, or like it's painted for the first time. So we're trying to clear 2 missions. Can we nail both, or will we fail miserably? I guess you'll have to tune in to find out. And let's just make things clear, just because I don't add something to my wish list doesn't mean I don't think it's good or even fantastic, but I only have so much space, and I like very specific things, so I just want to make sure you guys are aware that there's going to be a lot of good stuff here, but it's not all for me. Anyway, enough rambling, let's talk about this gosh darn event. Now we're going to be using Moe Pop, as we always do, just because they label everything in English, which is very helpful for me. I'm a stupid gaijin, so what can you do? But yeah, I'll link their Twitter in the description down below. Not their site, because sometimes YouTube gets mad at you if you link a website with like nudity, even though that's like the one thing that's always on Twitter, but doesn't matter. You could find their website very easily through their Twitter, and I thank them for their work. We're gonna start with Kadokawa, who had a ton of figures, probably like 30, but they did also have a ton of painted prototypes, which is great because not every company did, starting off with the Holo Yukata Beauty version from Spice and Wolf. This one's in a nice like frame. I wouldn't call it a photo frame because she does have like the satin sheets behind her, but I do like how this one is turning out. Sometimes with these Dakimakura figures, they just ditch the idea of having the character lay down and then kind of, I don't know, turn it into a standing up figure, which is a little awkward. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but they are committing to that idea. I do love the color of orange. I love the gradation of the tail turning into a very like bright yellow with like white at the tip. I think her face is very pretty. The gallery is giving me a little bit of trouble with these buttons. They're not really working for some reason, so I gotta use the keyboard. I love her smile. I think it's pretty endearing. Not gonna say it's the prettiest holo I've seen, but I do like it, and her yukata is very fitting for the character. We can't spend too much on any individual figure today because there's like 200 or something. But anyway, just want to make that clear. If I don't spend a lot of time on some of this stuff, it's because we got a video to make. Anyway, they've also painted their Himejima Akeno and Ria's Gremory High School DxD figures, the 15th anniversary versions. They're labeled as 6.5 scale, which is so awkward. I've never seen 6.5. Not gonna be a big deal, but just keep that in mind. I guess we can also call these like negligee figures. That kind of feels like it fits the bill. I don't know if it's the photo, I think it is, but the colors look a little muted here outside of Ria's hair, which does look lovely. I like that we're just getting a Himejima Akeno figure because we don't really get too many of them in comparison. And I do like her setup. These figures are very leg focused, which I do like as well. I wasn't really expecting the base to look this way. I'm not sure if this is based off of like official art or something, but this floor feels very rustic. I guess that's not a bad thing, just not really what I had in mind. I'm gonna guess these two are gonna go up for pre-order pretty soon. I've heard rumors somewhere that these are going to also be cast off, so look forward to that. We have from Excel World, which is a bit of a throwback, Kuroyuki Hime wedding dress version, 1/7 scale. Not the biggest fan of this dress. I kind of like it when they just make a black wedding dress. I think that's unique and just fun for the heck of it, but I don't really love this pattern that's on the dress. I think I need better photos of this one. You could tell it's a floral pattern, but I don't think the plastic they chose is really highlighting like the pattern work and the texturing. So I'm gonna say we need better just photos in general of this one. Her hair shading looks nice though, I'll give her that. It's not a good sign when you're already having problems with the gallery. Things just aren't opening and closing correctly. But we have Yunyun, Iris, and Megamin from Konosuba. These are non-scale, very cute designs, but they're not gonna be the biggest figures. I think the big giveaway would just be like the details in their faces, their expressions. They just look a little simplistic. Cute, but simplistic. We got some Overlord figures, one for Lupus Regina Beta, 10th anniversary Soben version, which I believe Soben is the artist who works on Overlord, at least like the light novel, if I'm remembering correctly. This looks great. I like her expression. I like her pose with the hands on the hips, a little sassy. Fair amount packed into this one too. You got the weapon, the base is rather detailed. I love the color of the rocks down there. Got a shiny metallic finish to it. I think it looks good. The only problem, I guess, is that it's a 1/8 scale, so she's a little on the smaller side. Delta is not painted yet, but she is looking pretty cool, if not slightly simplistic, because of the somewhat static pose. She's just kind of standing there, looking a little serious, which is fine. I don't know a lot about Overlord. That's on the to-do list in terms of watching, so we'll get there soon, for sure. Uma-chan, who I believe is an original character. I do recall this sculpt from last time. It really did stand out. It's very different from the rest of the figures that they're working on. The water strands of hair is very unique. The fact that she's holding an egg for some reason. I think I made the Always Sunny joke last time, so I won't do that this time. But we all love eggs, so that's great. She's sitting on her tail, which is like either a dragon tail or like a serpent tail. Looks cool either way. Love the way it's painted. The color palette is very pleasing to me. Not to mention that the body sculpt here is pretty good too. The tummy definition, the thighs, this like line right there, that's the good stuff. Also a 1/6 scale, so gonna be a pretty big figure at the end of the day. Cannot stand this gallery. It is not working. I don't know why none of these buttons are working right now. We also got some Love Live figures. I can't remember if these already went up for pre-order. I know I've seen them before. Maybe this is the first time. I don't have a lot to say about them, just besides the fact that they kind of look like Space Channel figures, like Space Channel 5 characters, which is fun. I do like that. Asuka, Karin, Supernova version, and Miyashita I Supernova version. And then we also had my Sakurajima Hood Look Usamimi version, cute bunny pajamas, kind of self-explanatory, seam lines all over this figure. I'm going to assume because of that, you can probably take off the bunny hoodie. Otherwise, that would kind of suck. And then the rest of this page was just announcements galore, such as a Marin Kitagawa Yukata version from Dress Up Darling. I've never seen a figure of her that looked like this. I can't recall at the very least. And I do think she's pretty here, so I'm kind of excited to see how that one turns out. We have the Holo Bunny, which we've seen before. They have not worked on it yet. A new Hoshino Ai figure is in the works with this design, I have to imagine. We got some OCs from Rurudo, Ellie and Eve the Feather. I feel like these two get tons of figures. Can't recall if these are new announcements either. A new Ryza figure from Ryza 3 specifically. We do need more of those if we're gonna keep getting Ryza figures, in my opinion. This one's got a very cute design. I really do like how she looks. We have Yuki Soramachi, bunny dress version. Just love how long her hair is, and the dress is very pretty. The dress incorporated into a bunny suit, I think that's fun. I like that one. I feel like I wouldn't buy it, but I do think it has some promise. Next up, Vassal Hammer Raftalia. This one is seemingly going to be pretty extravagant, not only because of the weapon being massive, but it seems like she'll also be encased in like an orb of pink smoke clouds, and the outfit is very like lavish and ornate. Albedo, gorgeous kimono version. They're not even showing it off, so we'll just move on. We got 8 billion Albedo figures, so what's wrong with one more? We have Yuki Nagato from Haruhi, which is honestly a great announcement. So close to making my list, but I never bought their Haruhi figure either, so I feel like the likelihood of me picking this one up is pretty low if I'm being honest, even though I did like the Haruhi figure, so I don't know why I skipped out on it. Some more Love Live figures, Dia, Eri, and Kozue. Maybe as a trio, like this might be one figure instead of announcements for 3 individual ones. That would make this stand out, would make it more unique, but Love Live in general seems to have a hard time selling their figures, so that seems like a bigger gamble. I'm not sure what they're gonna do, but I would rather, just for the sake of art, see this as like a 3-in-1 figure, but that's just me. Gushing Over Magical Girl seems to have gotten a decent amount of figures at this event. I know I've seen more outside of this, but we're getting 3, I believe, from Kadokawa. One for Magia Sulfur. I like that name. We have Loco Musica, another good name, and then Leopard. Now, I've never seen this show. Definitely made its way around. It was creating a lot of buzz. Kind of aware of what goes on in the series, at least a little bit, but I think if they're gonna keep making figures for it, I'm gonna have to give it a curiosity watch. I gotta know, even if it's slop, I wanna know if it's good slop, alright? Next up, some Fate Grand Order figures. This one's definitely new. Archer Duruga. Looks beautiful. This could be a potentially amazing figure, but just the announcement so far. Okita Soji we've seen in the past for sure. Anastasia we've definitely seen as well, so there's been no updates for him. And then we're getting lingerie figures from Konosuba. I believe all 4 of the main girls, Megumin, Darkness, and Yun. It must be so nice to be a Konosuba fan, like a super fan, because you're pretty much guaranteed if Kadokawa is showing up, that they're also showing up with some Konosuba figures. I'm gonna complain a little bit though, this doesn't look like lingerie to me, this looks like a maid outfit. Also, maybe you're stretching the definition of lingerie with Aqua here too. I feel like this looks a little bit too wholesome to be lingerie, but this just doesn't even look like something you would sleep in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, that's just the wording of what they're going with and me complaining about it. Kadokawa Nendoroid, I guess they're teaming up. I don't think Good Smile Company is really here though, but we have a Nendo of Elisa from that new show that's been popping off, another one that I probably have to watch just to see what it's about. People are loving this girl, but she's already got her Nendo, already painted. Would probably guess that she's gonna go up for pre-order, like even maybe this week. I could see that happening, but at the very latest, most likely August. And then I think the rest of it was just some model kits. So that's it for this page. A doozy, if you ask me. A lot of stuff here. Next up, who do I want to go to? Let's do QSix. They're a favorite of mine. Not really sure what they brought to this event, though. We have Urusei Yatsura's Lamu in her winter uniform. Honestly, very close to hitting my, like, +1 on the updated figure. She's very cute here, but I've never really watched this show outside of like 10 episodes of the original. I mean, I respect it for sure, just wasn't really like my kind of thing. I'm more of a Ranma fan. I love Ranma. Really hoping Ranma starts showing up soon. But school uniform Lum, I love way more than like Tiger Bikini Lum. Obviously, that's the more iconic look, but she just looks precious here. So I'm gonna maybe circle back to this one if we don't find more things that I'm interested in. It's like a maybe. I just love how she looks. I think she's like leaping off of the school building down here, some kind of building. Again, I haven't seen Urusei Yatsura in a very long time. But frankly, a great announcement if you ask me. We have Salvaria Bless swimsuit version. Again, I feel like this is a situation where calling this a swimsuit when you're wearing fishnets is kind of crazy. I can't imagine getting sand in between all those fishnet holes. Like, that would probably just drive you fucking crazy. But, you know, less layers, hot sunny day. I guess if you're at the beach, you strip down a little bit, it works. I mean, it's an appealing outfit regardless. I think she looks sexy. Her hair is super voluminous and the colors are fantastic. So, probably gonna be a good one. From Dress Up Darling, Inui Sajuna t-shirt version, very self-explanatory. Because of the simplicity, there's really not that much to discuss here. I like her expression. She's clearly annoyed. I think that's cute, but it's kind of all I got. Next up, we got the Mado Buso Axe Prototype Armament Test Equipment version. So, futuristic maid, very busty one at that. Very voluptuous all around. Really like her skin complexion. The colors are great. Some would maybe say a little garish, maybe, just because of the really bright green and purple. But I like the contrast with her skin, with her hair, the black of like the top, and the leggings, which are more of like a brown, but they're really like glossy looking too. I dig it. I dig the whole thing for sure. I like that she's got a like monster energy can behind her, just so that she's got like a little bit more aspects of being a maid and helping out the master and all that stuff. It's cute, and also just like the way the tail is lifting it is very unique as well. Next up, from To Love Ru, we have a figure of Yui, but this is like a crossover with Senran Kagura. I guess the outfit kind of makes it feel a little bit more like that. I've never seen that crossover before, so this is kind of new to me. Unique though, but I've never really been a big fan of Yui. From Blue Archive, I forgot they were making Blue Archive figures, we have Hinata, who I don't really know a lot about. She's certainly very pretty though, unfortunately not painted. Has a humongous suitcase, or just case in general. Seems to be potentially a nun of sort, if I had to guess from like the cross. and like the hood and just the outfit in general. A lot of layering on her like sleeves over here. Can't tell if that's like on her hair or not, but very layered outfit, very detailed figure. Should be a good one. From Fate Grand Order, Mysterious Ranmaru X. Looks pretty cool. Unfortunately not painted as well. This katana behind her is absolutely massive, but she does have a smaller sword when needed. Yeah, cool design, but I've never seen her either. Unfortunately, my knowledge is, shit right now. We have from Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Sylphie Changing Clothes Mode to go alongside with Eris and Roxy, who also have figures like this from QSix, and they're pretty popular, so I'm not surprised they're making one for Sylphie as well. Next up is Awayuki from the artist Suave, if I said their name correctly, the Samurai Bride. Don't feel like her face looks as good as it did last time. Maybe I'm misremembering, but her eyes are so big right now. It's throwing me off slightly, but I do love her hair. Her bangs look fantastic. They're going with translucent plastic for the dress portion, which I guess shows off her legs. I do hope that looks a little bit better when it's done, because I feel like it looks only okay right now. But having all the extra armor and the katanas and the revolver in the front, the belt and the pouches, there's a lot going on here, and I think this is going to come together to make something rather special, so I'm excited to see how this one does turn out. We also have Priest Shibuna from artist Dish, and this one is kind of tickling my fancy like it didn't last time. I remember this figure, I remember what the art looked like, but this sculpt looks immaculate. And I'm kind of in love with the Anubis thing going on, like the Anubis designs. These Anubis girls are just so good. Every single time I see one of them, I'm always like considering it. And this might be my favorite one so far. Now I do remember she had like pasties on the chest, and her lips are kind of puckered, and I don't mean her face. So I don't even know if I should like show that or censor it, but like, it's pretty inappropriate for what it is, even though it's not a cast off. But she looks kind of gorgeous. I don't know if I could commit to buying this. I feel like it's a little too saucy. However, I am going to add this to our side quest. So +1 to the updated figures category. This design is just too good. They got me. Her bangs, her staff looks awesome. The body sculpt is amazing. It's just immaculate work. We also have Plum, the bunny girl style, but also kind of a magician figure, which is a fun combination. Unfortunately, there is no prototype though. And personally, I think I still like the school uniform version just a little bit more. And then last up, definitely didn't see this one coming, we have Onimai, I'm Now Your Sister's Mahito Bunny Girl style, showing a lot of armpit there. Now, this is a series that didn't really get a lot of figures. I think it aired in the beginning of last year maybe, and it was definitely pretty popular, probably more so in Japan, but considering that's usually where these companies look in terms of like what's popular and what's not, just kind of surprising that Mahito and a couple of other characters, there was like 3 figures in total, maybe 4, outside of some prize figures that got made for Onimai. So I think it's a pretty good announcement. Probably not something I would pick up, but I do think this art is pretty cute. If this is what the figure is going to look like, having Mahito jump in the air makes for a pretty fun sculpt. I'm kind of surprised we have not seen Kaide from Wave. I don't know if that's at this event. I've been waiting to see how that one turns out. That might be something I get. But yeah, I think that's a good fit for QSix. And that's going to wrap it up for this page. All right, next up is Wonderful Works. They brought some stuff that we've seen before, like their Mau Mau Garden Party version. Really like the paint job here, the luster of her hair, and just like the shading of her outfit. She does seem to have seam lines in her arms, which I don't know if that means you could swap out these pieces, or if they're just, you know, putting seam lines there, unfortunately, because it doesn't really look that good. But I do think most of it looks rather pretty. We also have DP12 Morning Fable version. The big highlight for me was just how thin the dress looked, and I really like the design of her bag. I don't think I really pointed that out last time. New to the event though was Jomai Sayori from Blue Archive, and this figure looks pretty fucking awesome. The style is sick, the big oversized jacket, the face mask, the cap. Really like how thin her hair strands look. And her halo looks pretty cool too. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about her, so I don't know if this would be something that I would want to pick up, so I'm going to hold on this one a little bit. But she looks great. Really like her toned stomach too. A lot of detail in her tummy. That one looks amazing. And if I could back out of this gosh darn gallery, we also had Ryza, but this is a crossover with Azur Lane, which is why the art style looks a little bit different. Very pretty art, I gotta say. She looks gorgeous here. But yeah, this is the Late Night Alchemist version, otherwise known as a pajama version. Pretty sexy, just because of the way they've, you know, positioned her and the chest pushing onto the pillow. There's like petals all over the bed too, which is pretty nice looking. I don't know how much of this bed, or maybe like a futon, you're getting here. The sheets seem very important to the overall just like composition of this art. So I have to imagine you would get a lot of this, which means this will probably cost a decent amount of money. But I dig it. It definitely stands out among the sea of Ryza figures that we currently have. And trust me, there's more at this event. But I like this. I think it is the art carrying. Like, look how nice her hair looks in this piece of art. I doubt the sculpt, when it comes to the hair sculpt, will look that good. But a man can dream. Moving on to Plum, we have the Iochimari Memorial Lobby version from Blue Archive. Cute little figure sitting on the fold-out chair in her PE uniform, volleyball off to the side. I like the flowers in her hair, I think they're pretty. And then she's just, you know, drinking some water because she's tired, sweating a little bit, but she's still happy to see you. Cute stuff for sure. Bunch of announcements. Got the Sunflower Girl and OC. We have Fujita Kotone from Gakuen Idolmaster. Couple more Love Live girls, Fujishima Megami and Osawa Rurino. And then if we scroll down, even more Idolmaster. Now, I believe the announcement is for these two over here. Not the best photos, it is just arts, but I'll put them on screen right now to give you a better look. We got Tenoji Rina and Mifune Shioriko. So look forward to those if you're fans of Idolmaster. And then we had some model kits, one for Zunko, who's looking a little funny. Her neck and her head proportions are very strange to me, but she's cute. I like her. And then this girl who does have a name. Unfortunately, I cannot read it, but she is also getting a model kit. From Zero Creative, they had 4 OC figures from what I can tell. First up, Shirai Aki, taking off her leggings, ooh la la. We had Want to Do It Again, which I guess is not a name, but more so the situation that's at hand. We also have Natsu Bikini Bashojo, another one like that. Her face looks like it's not aligned properly. I don't know if I'm just bugging out though. Maybe it's just because her head is straight, but her body is tilted. I don't know. Looks a little strange to me. And then we had Kaguya-chan, which looks pretty cute. Very busty as well. Very detailed outfit. All right, Spiritale time. Let's see what they brought to the table. First up is Elena, the Rest version from Wandering Witch. Finally painted for the first time. Looking pretty good. There's a lot going on with the base, which I'm assuming are like bed sheets. So she's on the bed. Her books are just like laid out all over the place. Got her bag in the back as well. Her wand by her feet. Looking pretty mischievous. This is like the only figure I've seen of her that looks kind of like this, I think. And it's kind of interesting to me because I haven't seen the series, but all the other figures just make her look bubbly and cute. But this one is just totally different. I do dig it though. I do like how messy the like witch robe and the hat have become because of just this like casual and informal this all is. So it's got a lot of appeal for sure. Just a little different. Not what I expect to see when I see figures of her. We got a new figure of Toga Himiko from My Hero Academia, the duffel coat version. Now this one is coming after their first figure of Toga, which is like the best figure of her to date, and it makes this one kind of hard to compete, but at the same time, different design, going for a totally different thing. Not up to any good, for sure. I like that she's got her equipment, her mask in the bag, but it's all flying out. A lot of energy behind this one. The setting I'm not super familiar with. I just haven't seen this series in a very long time, but there's knives all over the place and a bunch of paint, which is really cool looking. The one improvement they could make that I felt like was a little lacking on the first one was just like the hair was kind of iffy in terms of like the paint and the plastic they chose. So if it looked better here, then I think this one could rise to like rival it. We got another Marin figure, kind of similarly set up to their Liz cosplay figure that went up for pre-order just this month. Though this time, it's just Marin in her bikini. Now as you can see, there are 2 faceplates, which you can't beat the smile. The smile is too good. I know like every figure goes for it, but it's just too endearing. But you do get 2 totally different expressions here. A bunch of like her clothing and the bag are on what I assume will be a bed. I actually don't know because it's not the futon, but it's also like very flat. I trust them enough to nail this because it does look like Marin, so they got the important part down. But at this point, I'm not super excited about Bikini Marin because I've seen that so many times, but it's a good sculpt for sure. This one not being painted yet is so sad because I really want to see how this one looks. Definitely Kana's best figure in terms of just composition, yet they're taking a long time on it. Same with this Miku, same with this girl. Very pretty, very attractive, love her massive horns, but they haven't painted that in like a year. Now this one is actually new. We haven't seen the prototype yet. We knew this was in the works, Froppy from My Hero Academia. I don't think it's too hard to make a good looking Froppy figure. You know, you got the crashing water, you got her tongue spinning all around her head. That's kind of like what you need. Plus the way she's jumping, her frog-like movement is kind of sort of being put on display here, kinda. It doesn't feel like a normal hop at the very least, but it's a really lively one. I think even more so than the toga. We have an in-the-works figure of Ryza in a swimsuit, of course. This one's Ryza 3, though, so a little different. I guess we're just starting to get more Ryza 3 figures right now, which I'm down for. I think Ryza 1, we've been through it. We need more Ryza 2 and Ryza 3. I mean, really, we don't need any more Ryza figures, let's be honest. We have tons to go around, but as a big fan of this artist, and as a fan of Ryza, I don't mind seeing them. So I got my bias. I think the setup is nice, but it doesn't really stand out too much for me in comparison to other swimsuit Ryza figures. Though they definitely cooked last time with their first Ryza, the pretty simple white bikini. They made a tan version as well. Very thick legs on that one. Tons of people like that figure. So hopefully this one turns out great as well. These Nikkei figures we've definitely seen in the past, Viper and Soda, but no update, unfortunately. We also had this girl again, Leopard, from Gushing Over Magical Girls. I guess she's a popular one, maybe more important to the story. Now I really gotta watch to find out. But I think I caught something out of the corner of my eye. Moe from Blue Archive. I think I'm gonna add this one to my list of new announcements. I don't know what it is about Moe. I don't know anything about her. I don't play Blue Archive. I didn't watch the anime either. I don't even know if she shows up in it. But I've always liked her design. Like, why does she look like that? What is she after? I don't know, but I've always found this character design appealing. So you know what? That's a +1. That's a +1 to our new figures announcement. We're making progress. We might actually hit our goal because we got so many more on the way. To wrap up Spirito, though, we got a couple more announcements from Gakuen Idolmaster Shinosawa Hiro. I would love it if this is what the figure looked like, because it's so just like not what companies go for. She's tired and just sweating and just out of it. I like that, but I don't think they'll do it. Miruko, we knew this was happening, I'm pretty sure, so not a new announcement. Sakura Miku. I don't know if I've seen this art before from Hamu Nezuko. This one I'm pretty sure is new. She looks cute. We got a figure of Shigure Yui, which is not too surprising. She already has some scale figures and some Nendos. We also have Takina and Chisato. These have been in the works for so long. Now that I've finally seen Licorice Recoil, these two are the ones I'm the most excited to see. I just love these designs. And they're like only featured in the anime like one episode during the commercial break. That's it. But man, those designs slap. That might be it though for Spiritel. Let me double check. And yeah, we're good to go to the next company. Okay, so next up, let's do kind of just going in random order here. How about Wave, Pony Figure, etc.? They should be fun. From Kaiyodo, we have a Miku figure, actually. This one looks kind of gorgeous. I think I should go out of my way and find a better photo for you guys. It's fine enough for me, though, because I can't spend too much time. But this is the Golden Fish version. As you can see, the artwork the figure is based on is right here. Love the flow, the hair, and the fishtails. I'm not sure if her dress has that kind of fishtail thing going on. I think it does. But there's also fish swimming around her, too. I really like that her base has a lily pad. She's stepping on one of them. I think the colors, like the green, and then that light orange, pink, and white. A little bit of red highlights from like the belts and stuff and the trim of the kimono or the dress, whatever it's supposed to be. I think it's a kimono because of the sleeves, but it's a little bit more fantastical. They're mixing in just like aquatic elements. There's a ton of appeal here, but the color is really going to make or break it. And it's a company that I'm not super familiar with in terms of their quality, but really impressed with this prototype. Don't think it'll be for everybody, but really special looking Miku from a company you wouldn't expect. Next up though was Wave, and they're going to contribute greatly to our list surprisingly, because they actually painted their Kikuri figure from Bocchi the Rock. Now, surprisingly, we actually have the price for this one, which means she's gonna go up for pre-order pretty soon, about 21,000 yen. Now, this photo is not the best. There are a couple of more floating around, so I'll put one on the screen right now for you guys. But I think this looks fantastic, and the price really isn't that bad considering you're getting the guitar and you're getting the speaker that she's standing on. Not to mention her outfit is detailed enough for me because of the jacket. If she was just wearing the dress, then maybe not. But because she's got that jacket, I think it's totally fine, totally justified in my opinion, but I'm also biased as hell. I also love the fact that they went with the crazy expression and the teeth are nice and sharp, which hopefully remains that way when she actually comes out. I do fear that her hair is gonna look a little cheap because from my experience, Wave figures don't have the best shading when it comes to hair, but if that's the only problem and it's still a good color, then I think it'll be okay. This one's definitely very exciting for me though. I am super tempted to get that. Probably will. So now I think we're at 2 for the updated figures. We also have a figure of Iruru, which is like her first episode appearance from season 2, where she's like floating in the sky. They zoomed in on this one. I don't think she's really being levitated too high on the figure. I think she's really just at like the base level. So I'll find another photo of her just to make sure I'm correct on that. Looks pretty good though. I like the crazy expression for sure, how demonic her eyes look. The details in the arms and the tail also seem to be great, though the clothing, not that much here, but looks a little basic in my opinion, and I do feel like this one's gonna cost around that 20 to 24,000 yen range, so I don't know. Just feels like it's lacking a little bit in the clothing department, if you care about that. We also have a Bridget figure, which is, you know, number 27, Bridget, but like, it's cute. It looks pretty good. Not that exciting though. We've seen a bunch of figures of her with the yo-yo, but like, what else is she supposed to do? Roger doesn't seem to be incorporated into this figure, and she's really just like playing with it, like showing off like a trick, which is fun, which is novel. I like her face a lot. Like her eyelashes and her lips look super good, but I just don't have like that same excitement anymore for Bridget. We need to see more Guilty Gear. We're also getting Kaide. I mentioned this earlier in the video, so you know what? Another +1. So I think we're at 3. We're gonna clear one of these missions for sure. Yeah, Kaide from Onimai. She's great. You've probably seen her before. When she was like shown off in this bikini in the anime, you couldn't escape it. Like they went to town. Like the animators had a good time animating that frickin' scene. And I just love the art style of this figure. I think her face is super cute. Love the flowers in her hair, the sunglasses that are hearts. I'm also glad that it seems like her nails are gonna be pretty long on this figure. They should probably even be longer, in fact, but usually they kind of trim them down a little bit just to make sure they don't break in the process. So yeah, obviously there is a big seam line right here. Hopefully that goes away. But yeah, Wave of all companies adding to my list. That's kind of crazy. We got Kaide from Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. I think there's another one, Kanade. So they're dressed pretty similarly. Love the detail and pattern work on the sash and the gloves. That looks fantastic. We got Uzaki-chan's Uzaki Hana, cow bikini version, just the 3D model of it, but confirmed to be happening. Finally can join her family. Now here's something I definitely did not expect to see at this event. Wave and Good Smile are teaming up to bring back Beach Queens, which is a line of figures that did not exist for like the past 8 years or so. I cannot recall the last time I've seen a Beach Queen, but they were very popular back in the day. Very cheap too, like 3,000 yen or so. But obviously prices have changed, so now these are pop-up parades, which just makes so much sense. Like, that's pretty smart. It's like the same kind of base too, which is very nostalgic, even though I only have like 2 Beach Queens and they're both of Taiga just because I collect Taiga figures. But we're getting 3 from Sword Art Online. So we got Asuna, Alice, and Lifa, which, you know, why not start off with Sword Art Online? Very curious how far they're gonna go with Beach Queens though. And I'm also curious if like today's market cares about cheap bikini figures, because that's not something I'm like super interested in, but it kind of makes me happy to see this line brought back because we haven't seen it in so freaking long. Anyway, pony figure. Not sure if this is supposed to be like Pony Canyon I don't know. But we have a new figure, again, of Miku, the Delight Fairy style. Pretty cute setup. There's like a bunch of belts just like flying all around her, and I really like her sneakers. Looks a little simplistic in terms of like the face and the hair sculpt specifically. It has a nice twirl to it, but not super impressive otherwise. It looks nice, I don't want to knock it, but you know, it's not as much of a standout as the golden fish version. I do like that her wings look like crystals though, maybe more like rocks right now, but I'm pretty sure they'll be like see-through or transparent and be like some pretty colors at the end of the day. They're also making a 1/7 scale figure of Liliel, Angel School Training Uniform version, 2.5 dimensional seduction. Yeah, I don't know too much about this one. I think this is like an anime that's airing right now though, so there's probably some hype behind this release. But I don't know. I know nothing about her. But that's it from them. From Medicos Entertainment, this figure of Kama, Third Ascension, looks so much better than I thought it would. I just can't get past how good her arms and legs look. That blue energy, or whatever it's supposed to be, that's coursing through her, looks magnificent. Like, I'm just really impressed at the plastic and the paint they chose for those areas, and like that gradation of a darker blue to a lighter blue by like her fingers and her feet. Kind of amazing, like genuinely so. The inside of her hair is also the night sky, so that's super pretty as well. She's got this smug expression too. This figure is really winning me over. The lotuses that are all around the base and at her chest too. I don't know if I like the gold on the chest piece and the shoulders that much. They look a little dull, but maybe that's just this one photo. Not something I'm planning to get. We can't add it to the list. However, I can still be impressed. I think this looks fantastic. Even her stomach looks amazing. Could just be the lighting, making it look even better. But yeah, they cared about the sculpting of her body a lot. Like, certainly a lot. Next up, from Black Lagoon, I think this makes for our third Black Lagoon figure from this company. We got Roberta. Now, I've been going back. I've been watching anime, I've been watching Trigun, not at Black Lagoon yet, but I got a couple of buddies who are gonna watch it with me. So that's definitely happening. So I'll know if I want this, hopefully, by the time this comes out. Can't join the list though. However, she looks pretty badass. Shotgun, the pistol, standing on the briefcase so that she's kind of showing off her legs a little bit, the opening of the dress. So it's a little fan servicey, but we like that. Love her braids too. Just this like battle maid thing that's going on. Very lovely. Very, very lovely. Moving on though, we have, what is this? We have another Ryza figure, but it's like Ryza with a tan and blonde hair. I mean, I ain't objecting to that. I don't know what this is though. I've never seen this, like, I guess spin-off. It's kind of just like a school uniform, I guess, though she will have the staff. So yeah, I don't know. I really like the colors, not only of her complexion, but the uniform itself, white and red, lovely combo. One of my favorites. So that could be great. And then there was also some new figures announced from the Demon Girl Next Door second season. I feel like this company makes like this girl a lot. Not sure about this one. Momo? Yeah, I feel like I see this Demon Girl all the time. I don't know if their figures ever turn out that great, but at the very least, we got some pretty dress figures on the way. I believe that's it for the company though, so let's move on with Design Coco. Another Ryza. A little blurry photo. I'll find another for you guys because I'm sure you'll appreciate the details on this one. But it is a swimsuit Ryza, from Ryza 2 specifically. However, it's also a 1/4 scale. 1/4 scale Ryza. That's appealing in its own right. I don't think we've seen that yet. I don't think so. But yeah, she does have this very colorful basket of fruits, little mat, so that she could sit on the beach without getting her her legs sandy, I suppose. Yeah, really cute expression too, also coming with an inflatable ring. Seems like she might be slightly tanned here, maybe, but I'm only looking at the blurry photo right now, so you guys will have to let me know, or maybe I'll just let myself know later when I find that photo. Regardless, I think this one's appealing, and I think the 1/4 scale makes it even more appealing. Usually I don't care about 1/4 scales that much, but I think in this case, that'll make this figure even better. We got some 1/7 scales from Data Bullets, Tokisaki Kurumi, and White Queen. Lingerie versions, so either they're taking off their lingerie or putting it on. But they also do come with these rather nice looking chairs, very ornate with the pattern on the bottom. I like how they're differently colored too to match alongside with their palettes. We also have a new ram to go alongside with the water dress Rem. Kind of surprised if I'm being honest, like Ram getting this style of figure just didn't really register in my head, yet now that I'm seeing it, I think she looks pretty gorgeous, you know? Like her face looks amazing, and I doubt they're repurposing the dress. Like it doesn't seem like the exact same sculpt because they do have like different poses slightly, like they're both twirling, but it's not like with the exact same movement, if that makes sense. Also, not to point it out, but the chest sizes are completely different as they should be, so either they're modifying the figure to like a pretty decent degree, or it's an entirely different sculpt altogether. Doesn't really matter that much to me considering they're supposed to look similar, but yeah, I think that looks great. And then last up for Design Coco is actually another figure of Elena, though this time, I don't even think it looks like her. If you told me this was somebody else, I would have believed you because I just don't see her in this like art style or just like this figure in general. But it's not to say this is bad or anything. Definitely need to see more, I guess, close-up shots. Maybe the paint will make it look a lot more like her. But I do love the little kitty in the front, just kind of playing with the butterfly. That's adorable. Feels very comfy, this one, as she's sipping on the tea. Like the way that her hair is tied up. Very cute overall. But yeah, I didn't think this was Elena the first time I saw it. But yeah, that's it for this page, so let's move on to another. Alrighty, next up, we're going to talk about Amakuni. They brought a ton to this event, as they typically do. First up, Alice, Goddess of Victory Nikkei. This is the Sweet Home version. She still seems to be wearing the skin-tight suit that she typically does. Might be a different color actually, but she did throw a hoodie on top of it, which frankly I think makes her design look even better. I just really like this outfit on her. I think it makes her look even cuter. The hat has the ears, got the bunny symbol on the front of it. Her twin tails are nice and twirly. Her sneakers, the striped socks, it's all very effective, very easy on the eyes palette too. The brightest color, I guess, are the red straps, and then like the very bright pink, but that matches up with the white. That could be found pretty much everywhere on this figure. Her pose is cute too. She's doing the rabbit thing. So definitely like it. Next up, Inego-chan from Arms Note. We got a couple of these characters from Amakuni. This one's a little different. She looks very tall. I don't know if she's actually tall, but her legs look enormous to me. I like her face. Seems to have some sharp teeth. Her eyes are nice and bright. Very colorful blue. The white streaks in her hair. Pretty cool. Wearing a sporty one-piece swimsuit. Got goggles around her neck. Kind of hard to see, but they're right there. Kind of wish her arms had a little bit of muscle definition. Maybe I'm asking too much. I don't know her, but I feel like she's kind of flexing anyway with the way she's holding onto the gun. So that would have been cool. But otherwise, yeah, I think she's got a great design. I probably like her more than the other two that I've seen from Amakuni. Next up, Narbaro Gamma, Sobin Bunny version. There's two included, I'm assuming. I doubt they would sell these two separately. Tiny one, very cute. Same setup for the most part, though the tinier one does not get a spear, which is kinda disappointing, but at the very least she is summoning some, like, energy, electricity, if you will. Just in a slightly different way. Stylized completely differently too, which I do like. Even the way they're painting it is much more simplistic. You could like look at the leggings to get a good idea of that. Like their suits both look glossy, but kind of more like a simplistic brown matte. There's more of a gradation in the normal Narbaro's leggings and fishnets. Saw this one earlier, but surprisingly, they're also making a Makima. Though, really, this shouldn't be surprising because they did make Power previously. Now, I've seen a couple more photos of her. Maybe I'll put one on screen right now. I think this looks very good. I would even argue maybe this face looks better than the Eastream one, which I complimented for having a very nice, accurate-looking Makima face sculpt. But this one might even be even better. Now, I do feel it's a little less exciting because it's just like Makima without the blood. The base, while they're kind of similar, because this one also does have blood on it, doesn't have that like texturing or like the other slab that kind of showed a struggle in the background. But the detail in the trench coat and her pants, like that seam line going down, looks a lot better here. I'm not going to buy this because I don't need another Makima. I don't think this is like substantially better than the one I already own. And frankly, considering they messed up the Power, they might mess up this one too. Yeah, I'm a little salty about that still. But I know this is going to cost too much money for this to be like a curiosity buy. So I do hope this looks as good as this does, because I think this looks really good and definitely one of, if not, maybe I shouldn't say best Makima figure, but definitely up there for sure. Like, it's not the most exciting thing, but the accuracy of the character is really the most important part. And that seems to be where their focus is. This one's very cute. I like that they put her in a swimsuit, but they kept the colors like exactly the same as her normal outfit, from the red and the off-white of the swimsuit to the green and yellow of the coat or the jacket that she's wearing. Her face looks a little iffy to me, but still appealing. I just feel like I've seen better looking Sophie figures. Could be the angle though. But as far as a swimsuit idea goes, I like the way they've gone about that one. We also have a dancer Yuki figure from To Love Ru Darkness. We got a couple of these now. I think there's at least Yami, Momo, maybe? I know there's a Lala, but hey, we got Yuki now. Looks pretty good. The colors are very fitting for her. I mean, it's straightforward. Really not wearing that much. Little dangly jewelry on like the top and the waist piece. But it does seem like they're doing a good job here. We also have a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh figures. Now this one is the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring figure. I believe this is a card. I've heard this one is very popular. Like this character or card, I'm not sure what the popular thing is. The card, how effective it is, or the character design within the card, right? But it's a cute one. Simple, but cute. This is crazy. Aki from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, super popular character. I haven't even seen 5Ds, and I kind of want this, but I don't think I could jump on it just because I know it's going to be too pricey. But that's a great pick. That's a super good pick. Even if it's overpriced, and maybe it's justified because of, like, you know, the outfit and whatnot, and the dual disc and all that crap. I really should go for this, but because I haven't seen that anime yet, I just don't feel like I need it. I feel like I'm gonna see the price tag and I'm gonna back away, unfortunately. But that's a maybe, so I'm not gonna add it to my list, but it's definitely a maybe. We also have Jack Atlas and Red Dragon Archfiend, which is awesome. He looks a little small, but considering his design, they can't make him too big or he would cost like way too much money. But again, brand new announcements for Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters that, while I'm not familiar with, are probably making a bunch of people happy. And you know what? I haven't gotten my Alexis yet, but I can wait. I can believe that it will happen. I know there's a Mega House one, but I don't think it looks that good, and it's kind of small too. So I'm not interested in that one. I'm just gonna wait for Amakuni to hopefully one day do it. That and Taya. Meanwhile, Toru from Dragon Maid getting this like super cute and also super busty figure. Not the first time Toru has gotten a figure where her chest looked enormous. I'm gonna guess this is probably based more so off of the manga's design, because I mean, they're not that big in the anime unless I'm misremembering. But she's got such a cute, round, chubby looking face too. I love the fang that's poking out too. It's kind of funny. She also looks a little stubby, like her limbs are a little shorter than maybe they should be, but that might just be the chest throwing me off because they're so big this time around. She might also be like in a cow print because of the bell, but I'm just kind of guessing here. But yeah, it's always interesting to me when they make figures like this because there's clearly two different directions they can take with Dragon Maid, the wholesome stuff or the sexy stuff. And I think we know which way this is going, but it's trying to do both because it's very cute at the same time. So I like it. I definitely like it. From Kaguya-sama, Love is War, The First Kiss That Never Ends, we have a Shirogane K figure. This is another anime that I need to watch. I've been watching a lot lately. This is on the short list of things I need to catch up on because I feel like that'll help me when I make these videos because I don't know her, but they made a couple of figures from Kaguya-sama. I remember one of them being really good and also really cheap. I don't know if those days are gone at this point. It was a similar setup to this one too because it had the heart in the background. But I fear this one's going to cost like 8,000 yen more than that one, which will be a bit of a shame. And then we have a VTuber design by Fukai Ryosuke. Unfortunately, that's all I got on this one, and I think that actually might do it for the Amakuni page, I believe. We'll scroll down. Yeah. Good stuff. Alright, so we got Union Creative, Wing, and Freeing on this page. I didn't even know Freeing was here. What the hell did they bring? Probably Azurlane if I had to guess. Let's find out. So, Akane from Gridman Universe is getting a figure. Yeah, I think this one's painted really nicely, specifically the dress, the blue on this figure looks great, really stands out to me. The glossy top looks nice, seems to be carrying over into the gloves and the boots, though maybe her gloves are pearlescent instead. Hard to say. We have an Oshinoko Kana maid version, cat maid rather, cute. I don't know if I love the gray on Kana. I mean, I get it, because it's a maid figure, so it's black and white usually. So I guess the gray is a little bit of a mix-up, but I don't know, it's a cute pose for her, sure. I do like her face, her eyes are nice and glittery, but I guess it's just not for me. It's cute though, I'm not hating, it's just not for me. This looks like a freeing figure, 1/4 scale for Haruna from To Love Ru Darkness. They've made a couple of these bikini figures so far. I think her figure looks okay. This one is set up so that you look at her butt more so than anything else, which you can't say about a lot of these other figures, because usually they're front facing, but they got her looking over the shoulder, which is unique enough, I suppose. I like those dimples too, but that's kind of it. We have a really nice looking Shaltier figure, the 10th anniversary version actually. This might just be her best figure. I don't think she has a lot of good ones, but I'm really in love with this one. In fact, I could add this to my list, though I did add this to my wish list on MFC like a week or two ago. This wasn't like brand new here, but it's also so close that I think to just like be a good sport about it, I'll add it. I'll add it to my list, even though I'm not like 100% on board because I'm not the biggest fan of Union Creative. I think they're okay, but this is a rather ambitious sculpt that I'm not sure if they're going to be able to like fully, you know, commit to and just make sure it turns out as beautiful as possible. Like these bloody wings in the back, how are those gonna look when it's painted? I like that the blood is dripping off of her finger and she's about to like drink it. That's a great touch. Honestly, her expression is just phenomenal. So, you know what? I will add it to my list. We'll do a brand new figure update. So I think we're at 2 and 3 right now. I'm keeping track on a notepad, but I'll have it on the screen for you guys throughout the video. So, Sonico Nurse Bikini version. Don't know what scale this is. 1/7, 1/6 if I had to guess. She's bending over, wearing a bikini, so she's really showing off her chest here. Rather large bust for a Sonico figure. Usually they are, but these seem maybe a little bit bigger than normal. There's a lot of figures on this page, so we better pick up the pace, at least for now. We got Naori from Love is Indivisible by Twins. This one looks a little weird because they clearly slapped on like colored eye decals onto the prototype, but it just throws me off. Early days, so let's not judge. Simple little figure though. We have another Yu-Gi-Oh figure, this time the 6th Samurai, Shinen, who is looking pretty cool. I don't know if I remember this card. Mechanical Samurai though, very colorful figure. A lot of like metallic glossy paints. Pretty dope. This one, kind of surprised to see. Not sure how you say their name. I think this is 2 different designs, right? Though it's still the same creepy skeletal robotic thing going on. There's figures of this that have existed in the past. They were never my cup of tea, but I know they're very popular in certain groups. Kalnika, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. They kind of creep me out, but I think that's the point. So let's move on. Now I'm going to back out here to see the arts with the figure, because that's what they're doing in this part of the gallery, which I do appreciate, especially for OCs, because you're less likely to be familiar with every single one of these, so it definitely helps me out. But yeah, as you can see, Koakuma ribbon swimsuit version. It looks pretty comparable, though her face shape seems slightly off, which I don't like as much from the original art. It looks a little bit cuter here, a little bit more rounded. Next up, we had a figure of Fumi, or rather the artist is Fumi. I don't think they have a name. Just completely changed her outfit for no reason, which is like so lame. I get why they did it. A bra and panty figure are going to be a little bit more enticing to people who don't know this character, but it doesn't really sit the right way with me. I really don't like that they changed this completely. The only positive, I guess, is that like you're getting some more of these like flower patterns on the stomach, like near the ribs. You wouldn't see that over the tank top, of course, but I like the shorts way more. It's a shame they took away the shorts. I like the colors that they brought to the figure too, but yeah, I don't know. They also changed the pose, but I guess that makes sense because otherwise you'd have to have her sitting on something, and that's a bigger commitment. We also have a figure from Tosaka Asagi, which is a girl in a huge library going down a spiral staircase, but you don't get any of that because that would cost too much money. Looks pretty comparable. They didn't really change anything in terms of the design. They just had to strip away elements that wouldn't really make sense on a figure that they have to sell to many people. We have this succubus nurse figure where the suit is like sucking on her. I've definitely seen the art before. I don't remember if I've seen this prototype. Seems like it'll also be a cast off. This is like very loose around the chest. We got Ellie, and then we had Momochi Nagisa. So no art to compare on these two. This photo is also not like the most high res. I do like her outfit though, so I might like that one when it gets closer to being completed. Got some more Idolmaster figures, a lot of like idol figures in general already at this event. We got Osaki Tenka, Guardian Amethyst version. This is the 3D render, so it's what the prototype will look like when they're getting close to finishing it. We have Osaki Amana, Guardian Tourmaline version from Shiny Colors. And then Kumayama Chiyuki, Gardene White Pearl version, might have said that wrong. All pretty angelic looking Idolmaster figures. And I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more Azur Lane yet, but I think we're at the beginning of it. We're probably going to see a lot more soon. So a figure of Jade, a Good Girl's Magic. We have one for Unicorn, Snow White Guardian Angel. That's a cute design. And I thought there was more, but I might be wrong, so now I gotta scroll down. I guess that's it. My bad. I thought there was at least 3. We have a figure of Shuachan from VTuber Legend, how I went viral after forgetting to turn off my stream, which is a pretty popular show, or at the very least a lot of like clips are circling around because of like what the series is about. From Wing and Union Creative, we have a figure of Bachi from Azur Lane, the gorgeous Speed Star version. Brat's on a bike going real fast. This is a very cutesy bike, lots of hearts and just like rounded shapes on the design of this motorcycle, which is fun. Gotta imagine this one's gonna be pretty damn expensive. And I think she's pretty popular too, so I have to imagine if this turns out well, and it's not like 70,000 yen, then I could see this one doing pretty good and maybe not bargain bin for once, as like every Azur Lane figure tends to do. So we are now at freeing. I guess here's our Azur Lane section. We got a figure of TB Kind Hot Spring version. Not sure of the size of this one, just because they've been experimenting a little bit. Freeing has not only stuck with 1/4 scales lately, a lot of like 1/6, some 1/7, but this one I am currently unsure. We also got this lovely lady whose name is very hard to say, Voroshilov, maybe. Devoted as the Warm Snow version, another hot spring figure pretty much, towel, not really wearing anything else. But as you can see, 1/7 scale apparently, and that's the same for all of these figures from freeing. So maybe the other two are also 1/7 scales, which to me is the most interesting part about all this. Not to downplay any of these figures, but it's just very interesting to see them change tactics over time, and I'm assuming it's just due to like the state of the hobby and how figures are getting more expensive to produce. And I feel like freeing figures are starting to just become a little less desirable. Not to say they're worse or anything, but I think like these 1/4 scales are hard to keep collecting over and over again. And I think they might be losing out on some of their audience, so they're gonna try and make smaller figures so that you can fit more of their stuff in their collection. And at the same time, it doesn't cost them as much to make, though that's all just like me assuming things. I could be totally wrong. Speculation on my behalf. But yeah, we had the Reno Summer Spinoff version. We had the Caesar High Tide Under the Sunlight version. Both of these we've seen before, but I wouldn't be surprised if they used to be 1/4 scales and now they're 1/7. But I would have to go back to other like events and check that out and make sure. But then we're also getting a figure of Yumi from Senran Kagura. They've made a lot of Senran Kagura figures. This one is actually a collaboration with Azur Lane, so maybe that's why they feel comfortable making it a 1/7 scale instead. But every single other Senran Kagura figure is 1, a bunny, and 2, a 1/4 scale. So yeah, again, just kind of interesting to me. She's really not wearing anything at the chest, huh? Just little tassels. How bold. There also seems to be some damage on this one, on the dress specifically, right? Some holes and some rips on the side. Very curious. That might be it though for freeing. That might be it for the page, in fact. So let's move on. How about we talk about AmiAmi next? I have no idea what their figures are like. Shop at their store all the time, but have not found a figure they've made that I'm like super interested in yet. Maybe this is the event? Probably not, but let's find out. We got a figure from Blue Archive of Akko. This is the one we've seen a couple of times where she's fallen down and she's embarrassed about it. Kind of wish there was a little bit more blush on her face. Looks a little too light in that regard, if you ask me. But it's cute. Looks nice. I've always liked her character design, and it's only like 10% the side boob thing, but you know, it could be good. Just not really a big fan of figures where they're like really low to the ground. We have a figure of Janice from Azur Lane, the Fright Night Scaredy Cat version. This one's adorable. Very glad they stuck with the cats from the illustration, but also that this guy got a witch hat. I love this. This is super cute. Really cute outfit too. It's like a devil cat because of the wings and the cat ears, and her expression kind of just sells the whole thing. Kind of great. Honestly, kind of great. Next up is another Ryza figure, actually. Another swimsuit Ryza figure, even. Though this one's kind of got a weird face. I like that she's sitting on the ball, kind of like deflating it a little bit, or just like pressing down at the very least, and she's eating the parfait, which will be very colorful, but her face looks a little bit too strange to me right now. Doesn't really look like her. So I hope it gets touched up at least slightly before this is done. We also had an announcement for Michinoko Komaro from Setokai Nimo Ana wa Aru, which is a very seemingly popular series, manga only, in Japan. It has like 30 chapters translated out of 100 over here, so you can read it, but not a lot of it. And I feel like while a lot of people probably don't know what this is, they probably have seen the commercial they made a couple of weeks ago for the manga. It went kind of viral for a few reasons. You could look it up to find out. But yeah, there's already 3 figures from this series, 2 of Komaro, both no pawn seemingly, and then one of another character, I forget his name. All of them are pretty suggestive and whatnot, but you know, it is what it is. That's like the series for you. Either way, Kashino Hot Springs Relaxation Mousepad Design version from Anigame. That name implies that this design is based off the mousepad, which is kind of funny and also kind of genius. This will make for a very good figure. And if you don't mind me being degenerate for just a second, I feel like if they want to go the whole extra mile here, they should make the chest that like squishy material they sometimes do, because if this is a mousepad version, that would be very funny if the scale version of that design had the same kind of like softness to it, you know what I mean? I think they should do that, but who knows if they will. From AniGift, we have a figure from Rurudo, which we saw earlier, of Eve, the handcuffs version. So I believe same character as last time. There was 2 of them though, but at least one of them I believe is this girl. Really like this hair sculpt, how it's draping over her wings. Wish I had a better look at like the inside of her wings though. Like what is that texturing that they're doing? It looks nice, but it also almost looks like a tennis racket. So I don't know, but I do like it. I like the thinness of her hair. You can't go too thin, otherwise you risk the plastic just breaking altogether. Wouldn't really hold up. We have a figure of Blue Archive's Kuwakami Kaho, a 1/6 scale. I do recall this one because she was in front of this like really big bookcase or shelf. And it seems like they're actually committing to that, but maybe at a slightly smaller degree, which is fine by me. I wouldn't expect them to do the whole ass shelf, but you do get enough of it. You actually place her in the room by adding this piece of furniture and decorating the shelves. I don't know all the Easter eggs here, but I'm sure a bigger fan would totally appreciate this stuff. And they're certainly emphasizing her butt a little bit with the posture. Don't mind that though. Her hair is super long. I hope that looks good on the final product because it looks really good right now. And it ain't even painted. Next up, we have an announcement for Goddess of Victory Nikkei's Crown Naked King version. What's with these Gilgamesh hands? I wonder if you'll get those on the final product. You know, could be an ambitious one depending on how hard they go with copying the art. All these like sparks around her and the hands. The hair looks great. Love the spiraling hair. But she's also not really wearing anything. So we'll have to see how that one turns out. From Anigame are some Azur Lane figures of Takao and Atago, the Office Lady versions. Very long legs on these 2, really nice shading on those leggings. This girl we've definitely seen before. In fact, I've talked about it in a pre-order roundup, unless this is a slightly different version, but I don't think so. We have a 1/6 scale figure of San Jacinto, Flavor of the Day. Bunny girl figure, but she's leaning against a railing, and again, emphasizing the butts, which we all do definitely love. Not much else to say about that one though, very straightforward. Why is this gallery just giving me so much trouble today? This is very frustrating. Another Azur Lane figure, another one where she's leaning against a railing of sorts. We have Ulrich von Hutten, Mayhem Maid version. Honestly, sick design. It's always the boots for me, I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's in combination with this maid outfit, which isn't even really like traditional. It's almost like punk-esque or something, because it's very suggestive. Like there seems to be openings everywhere, but you know, it works. It totally works for me. I think I'm just easy to please. Her leggings are ripped too. It's a fun design, a fun spin on the maid outfit thing, and there seems to be a manju back there, though I cannot tell how he is exactly incorporated into this one. Next up, let's back out. We have a figure of Asanagi, who is maybe also designed by Asanagi. That would make sense to me. Little fox samurai girl, if I had to guess. Huge ears, huge sword too, and I like that she's got like a shrine maiden thing going on. Maybe she's just a shrine maiden, I don't know. Would make sense. Either way, a nice little design, but it's also a little boring because she's just standing there. I like her fangs though. I like her crooked smile. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way, but I do like that it's on a slant. Makes it a little more fun. We have an AmiAmi Anigame collaboration. I feel like we've seen this one go up for pre-order, surely. I know I've talked about it before, but I don't think we've seen the Shinano Dreamy White Sands version. Fox girl at the beach with the swimsuit untied at the chest, making it even more saucy. Probably the best part though are the tails and the hair and the way they're painted. It's a really nice combination of white and blue, but very light on the eyes. There is a little bit of translucent plastic here, but it's reserved for her top, which is almost like easy to miss as it blends in with her hair and her tails. And then there was Snail Shell Studio, who primarily makes 1/12 scale posable figures, so I don't really know a lot about them. I believe they're a pretty popular brand though. I see some of their figures over at Zero Goken Reviews channel. If you haven't heard of him, check him out, he makes great stuff. But yeah, I don't really know a lot about this company, so we're just gonna show them off, and then we're gonna move on. But let me ask you guys something. How is the pacing in this video? Because I can't tell if I'm doing better or worse than last time. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I'm not sure if I'm getting through this information fast enough for you guys. Some of you just will listen to me forever, but I know there's definitely some people who want me to get a move on. So I'm just curious. If you have some feedback, let me know. Right now, though, we're going to talk about Furyu, who definitely have some nice stuff to show, if I recall. We got another figure of Elena. Is this show good? Should I be watching it? I mean, it's done at this point, I'm pretty sure. But none of my friends, never heard it on Twitter either. Nobody's ever talked about this, but she always gets figures. Either way, we have a new figure of her, where it looks like the shirt might be translucent. I really like the robe. Feels like she leveled up or something, like she graduated and she's a even more powerful witch right now. But as somebody who doesn't know the story, I don't exactly know why she's wearing this like red and silver robe instead. But I do like the colors, especially with like the inside of the witch hat, that light blue. It's a nice color combo. I really do dig it. Clearly she's at like a beach setting, maybe like a seaside city or something like that, just because of the popsicle and like the shoes that she's wearing. F-Next is also cooking up more of these really expensive kimono figures, one for Homura and one for Madoka. I really like that they've incorporated Kyubei, that bastard, into the pouch. These are good designs for sure, but I would never even dare to think about buying one of these because I simply can't afford it. We also have some figures of Ilya and Miyu swimsuit versions. They do look pretty good in terms of like character art style accuracy. Sometimes they do not get these characters correct, but seems like these two swimsuit figures actually did. There is also this girl from Ribose, Roro Boshi-chan, where she's sitting in the martini glass, olives off to the side. I like that. Her outfit is a little drab. You know, I don't really love the colors on her outfit. I wish I had a better photo of this one. Maybe I should, you know what, I'll go look it up myself. Hold on. All right, MFC to the rescue. Opened up a couple of photos here. This is the arts that the figure is based off of. Looks pretty nice. And then here is another photo of the figure, and it does kind of help. It gives us a better look at the blue on her outfit. It has a luster to it, which I wasn't seeing earlier. There's not much going on with the white, but that's fine. It's kind of there to contrast with her skin, of course, which is really nicely shaded. If there's anything I'm a little like iffy about, it's her eyes. They look a little rough to me right now. We only have so many photos, but they look a little sketchy. I'm not the biggest fan of how they currently look, but hopefully that'll get cleaned up in the final product, because this would be a big waste if they don't nail this one. I don't know a lot about Ribose, but I'm pretty sure they've done great work in the past. I'm like 50-50 right now. Super good idea. Most of it does look good, but I'm not really sure I like her face that much. That's a major part of a figure, so I'm gonna have to wait and see how this one turns out. Took a bit of a break, but we're back. Let's continue with Aniplex and Claynel. honestly do not remember what they announced. First up, ooh, I love this, we have a group photo figure of the Bochi crew. I don't know if they're going to make you commit to buying all 4 of these figures, but at the same time, they are non-scale, and if these were separate releases, they would have to include extra arms and hands, otherwise these poses just wouldn't work on their own. So this has to be a 4-in-1 figure. You would lose the entire, reasoning behind making this in the first place. The impact would be totally gone. Now, I did pull up the photo, or just the scene from the anime that this figure is based on. Pretty similar. Pretty close, though I do think they need to make some slight adjustments to their posing and positioning. The one thing that's really throwing me off here is Kita and Nijika are looking at us instead of I don't know, tilting their head a little bit more towards the other girls, and I don't love that, but it'll probably be fine when it's all said and done. But a lovely announcement for sure. Definitely need to know how much they're asking for that though. This one is an old announcement. Can't recall if I've ever talked about it before though. I might have missed it in another video, but Berserker Morgan from Fate Grand Order sitting on this really huge throne. Very cool. I don't know what these stripes would be called in the Fate universe, but I think when it's painted, it'll look fantastic. There's also a bunch of these sitting down figures. They make a lot of these non-scales, of course, very tiny. Bunch of these Demon Slayer characters are getting them. If anybody owns a figure from this line, I would love to know if they're worth it. I don't remember how much they are either in terms of pricing, but I know for a fact they can't be that expensive because they are on the smaller side. But let's move on. We have a new figure of Shizuku Kuroe from My Dress Up Darling. Don't think this is Marin cosplaying her. Could be wrong, though. We got some more Licorice Recoil figures. Shisato Birthday Commemoration Illustration version, and Takina is getting one as well. Just the announcement, but you got to imagine these art pieces are what the figures are going to look like. Pretty cute. Pretty precious, and they got those flowers from the wedding dress figures that I think Claynel or Aniplex made, so maybe they're just borrowing that idea, but the colors do match the characters, and I like it. Hiyori from Your Lie in April. This also looks like a familiar announcement to me, but if you weren't aware, we are getting some more Your Lie in April figures, which, considering its popularity, and considering we don't get that many figures of these characters, probably pretty exciting. We got a 1/8 scale figure on the way of Malice Draconia. I've never really looked into Twisted Wonderland. I know it's a mobile game. Not even sure if it came out in the West, but considering it's Disney, I feel like that would be pretty stupid to not bring the game over here. Not sure if this guy is supposed to be based off of Maleficent or something. That would make sense to me, but you guys will have to fill me in if you are knowledgeable. Either way, next up we have some cute little figures. Oh, wait a second. This Hitori, I've pre-ordered this. I really like this. I did not know they were making the other girls. You know what sucks? I mean, maybe this doesn't suck, but I'm giving myself a +3 right now to brand new figures because I am absolutely buying Ryo, Nijika, and Kita. It just feels like such a cop-out for me to give myself a +3 for something like this. But you know what? Actually, love it. I just love this stylization of these characters. More than the Nendos, more than the scale figures I've seen in the price figures. This is peak, but it's just funny that this is what kind of tips me over, which will pretty much guarantee that we have to be close to our goal, if not right there. I think we're at 4 out of 5 for new figures. But they're adorable. I love it. I think I saw that they're making a Nier Automata version of this. I've never seen this art before, but super cute as well. Just not as colorful, I guess, but that's fine. That's how it's supposed to be. Love that they included the robot because, I mean, the robot design in Nier is just great, but of course the main characters are why you're here. We got some buzz mods of Ryuko and Kanao, Demon Slayer, Kill la Kill. If anybody collects these, I would love to know if they're worth it, because I do like Figma, but I just feel like every time I see a buzz mod, they don't really grab my attention as much as I would like them to. We have these dreamy China versions of Vanilla and Chocola from Nekopara, and I do remember this announcement, and they're actually committing to most, if not all, of the art that these figures were based on, just because we're getting those background elements with the neon sign and the clouds back there. Their names are apparently behind them too, a little obscured, but you could totally see it if you look a little bit closer. I love their hair. I think that's probably the highlight outside of the background elements, because I think if they color that, this figure's really gonna pop, or if they color it correctly rather. But yeah, I don't know. I think these two look pretty good. Next up, I don't think this is new for One Fest, because I've been keeping my eye out for this figure, a Tori Domino design of Ryu-chan. So this dragon girl. I am fearing the price of this one, just expecting it to cost like 35,000 plus. But out of all of his OCs I've seen, I feel like this one is at the top of my list of figures that I would like to get from Tori Domino. I just love her look. I love the outfit that she's wearing. The dragon tail is sick, of course. I think she's got a katana back there, maybe two, in fact, but again, this one photo I have isn't the best. And of course, you get a whole bonsai tree too. So all of that, on top of the fact that Tori Domino just knows how to make a really voluptuous body sculpt, and you're in for one hell of a figure that I'm certainly keeping my eyes out on. It is a 1/7 scale, kinda wish it was a 1/6, but what can you do? I'll live. We also have a figure of Hakui Kayori from Hololive, another 1/7 scale. I don't recall if we've seen this one in its prototype phase before, but just like the other figures from Hololive that Claynel has worked on, I fully believe this'll just turn out beautifully. But unfortunately, I don't really know that much about Kayori, so I don't feel like I could justify it, considering this'll probably be around 30,000 yen, which is totally fine considering all these pieces just flying around her. I don't know what those are. They kind of look like science beakers. I think that's what it would be, and then there's like notes behind her, but she seems like a scientist cat girl, which is a fun concept for sure. Or maybe she's a wolf. I don't remember. Now someone's gonna call me out. That sucks. But either way, I think it looks great for sure. And then last up, don't think this is a new announcement either, but from Blue Archive, Kazusa. But that's it for this page. Let's find another. So, it's a new day. Did not think I would need to break this up into two separate recording sessions, but here we are. I feel like I sound sick. I'm not. I don't think I am at the very least, but I feel like my voice is lower than it typically is. I don't know. Either way, I've learned a couple of things over the past 24 hours. One, this is a very long video, which is par for the course. But two, I've also already talked about like 90% of what I really wanted to in this video. So I think because of that, outside of like a couple of exceptions for certain companies that we should focus on a little bit more, I think I'm gonna summarize the rest of the companies and just like point out a few of their highlights. So I think that's okay, especially at this point when I really need to get things moving, because we got the pre-order roundup coming up, and we also might have a Smile Fest on Friday and Saturday. I actually don't know, because I would be very shocked if we have another 300 figures from Good Smile and Friends, but I don't know, they're doing something else on Saturday the 3rd, so we'll see. I'll make a video for it if we need to, but we won't know until we get closer to that date. But as it stands, let's talk about DMM Factory. I actually did record some of this yesterday, but I'm just gonna do it again because it wasn't that long anyway, and some things have changed over the past 24 hours, including one of these figures actually did go up for pre-order. But their big figure, in my opinion, because we've never seen this one before to my knowledge, was their new Hatsune Miku figure by Rosuri, the artist. Now, this is not the best photo. We do have the art that this figure is based on. There's a bit of a space motif here thanks to the stars that are falling from the sky. A lot of them have landed around Miku and are also decorating her hair and even the outfit, like the one placed in the big ribbon. There's also the night sky that is like the pattern of her legging and her glove, and also a really nice like dark blue to pink gradient. I really like how her twin tails are not only spiraling in a really nice way, but the insides are also painted pink, so you got like a two-tone thing going on there. Just seems really well painted and shaded, and it's a very like pretty figure as a result. A fun outfit for sure. I do feel like, if I can find the other photo, that they're wasting a little bit of space with the base. There's like nothing going on in the front. Everything is pushed back a bit, and I find that a little odd. But I do think this is another lovely piece, and certainly a highlight of the event. We also had the fashion figures from Oshinoko, which will probably be pretty popular if they make sure these are of good quality. Despite my favoritism towards Kana, I do like her figure. I think Memcho's has the best design overall. I really like her coat and the pattern and designs on like the bottom portion. Just seems like a really cute outfit overall. But I do like the style of all three. They're certainly rocking these outfits. We also had that one holo figure where she's pretty much just in a t-shirt, looking a little shy. Pretty cute. And then there was also the Albedo armor version, which I think is a sick figure, but this just went up for pre-order last night. Cost about 36,000 yen or so, extremely expensive, which is not surprising. You're getting the armor, her wings, that base is rather involved with those spiky rocks sticking out of the ground. It looks great. Honestly, I love the paint of this figure. The metallic purple looks outstanding, but the face of Albedo, and I'll get some photos of this one too, I just don't think is really, like, up to snuff. I don't think it looks as good as it could, and it definitely brings this figure down a little bit. I feel like it's a bit of a bummer, despite how awesome this looks. Even the wings look outstanding, which sometimes the Albedo figures have like cheap looking wings, but I love that they're kind of tipped in blue. That gradation is really nice and a little subtle, but effective nonetheless. Then we also had an announcement for Yang Nari from Niji Sanji, but nothing to really go off of, so you'll have to just wait and see how that one turns out. And then a ton of OCs, which is just like why I feel like I need to kind of speed things up a little bit, because there are so many companies like this where they're just pumping these out, and because I don't really have a personal connection with any of these artists or characters, I'm kind of at a loss as to what to say. I think a lot of them are very pretty, even promising, but it's just a little too much, you know? I gotta kind of get to the main meat of the video, and these have kind of slowed me down a little bit. So as you can see, we're getting a bunch of these Maid Mason girls, very sexy maids, of course. Got the one making the omelet, very cute. And then we had a bunch of just straight up announcements from different artists, different designs entirely, doing their own thing. Still a ton of these maid figures though. The Maid Mason line just seems to be one of like DMM's favorite things that they're doing right now. So I guess they're big fans of it. But yeah, that's it for DMM Factory. Alright, so I'm going to go backwards on this page because I want to talk about S-Fire first. Now, they did bring a bunch of these Kaiju number 8 figures, which I have finally seen. Now I know these characters. Though Kaiju number 8 has already been up for pre-order alongside, I believe, Hoshina Soshiro, who is like 28,000 yen, which is way too much money for this figure. Both him and Kaiju number 8 are like the exact same price, which is frankly highway robbery for one of them and a decent deal for the other, and I think you can probably figure out which ones I mean. But we also have Kikuro as well as Mina. I don't know if these are up for pre-order, but if they're not, they're definitely going up for pre-order pretty soon. You got the big axe for Kikuro, which is probably the right play. Could have gave her a gun, but that would have been a little boring. Not as like memorable, not as cool of a weapon. I do kind of wish they made the axe have that like yellow energy to it, as if it was like activated. That would have been fun, but they kept it pretty straightforward, and considering this will be like 28,000 yen again, I don't know if I'm like super excited about it. Need to see more photos. And then we had Mina with that giant ass gun, cannon pretty much. Pretty good expression. I like that she's pissed. We don't always get that with characters like this, though I really wish, again, they could have made this even better if they just copied what, you know, they did for Kaiju number 8 and had a little bit of that electricity around her, as if she was like using the suit to activate more of its potential and power. I mean, unless I'm like misremembering, she literally did that in the show towards the end. And then this was a pretty big announcement. No, I haven't read Don to Don. I really like the art style, but figured just wait for the anime, and then if I really like it, maybe I'll pick it up from there. But we're getting figures of Ayase Momo and Shiratori Arya. So I got to imagine this is pretty exciting for a lot of people, but also I think we'll also get additional figures from other companies, because it seems like the hype train has just left the station on this one. Like, this is a very anticipated show, so I do expect more companies to start making figures of these girls, and even like the rest of the cast. Oh, and I almost forgot, but we're also getting this really cute, like, hot chocolate Miku. That's my interpretation, at the very least, based on the art and all these rabbits, and they're just drinking some hot chocolate. Adorable, for sure. Can't wait to see how this one turns out, but I always feel like their track record with Miku, S-Fire specifically, isn't really the best, so I'm a little worried that this one's just not really gonna look as good as I'm hoping, but what can you do? A-Force had a few things at this event. Not the best photo here, but I'll try and find another for you guys. We got Yukino and Iroha, both painted their swimsuit versions, 1/6 scale. Yukino's like a cat, Iroha's a dog, but they also made these swimsuit figures for whatever reason. I don't really mind that, I guess. I do like their bases, how it kind of looks like yarn. I think that's very cute. Then we also had a pretty simple figure of Sora from Yosuga no Sora, where she's in like a nightgown, negligee. Got a plushie of the rabbit, of course, so many figures of her. And then a fairly simple figure of Mizuhara Chizuru from Rent a Girlfriend, 1/7 scale, wearing a pretty sexy sweater. And seemingly nothing else. Maybe drinking a coffee or something. If I could find a photo of this one, I'll also add it to the video. Alright, what else do we have on this page? Let's zoom out a little bit. A jump rope girl in a precarious situation. Oh no, we have a girl from Wandering Witch, who's not Elena. Very surprising. We got Amnesia, who's like a knight. I think she looks awesome. The cape looks sick. I love the design of the sword too. Just overall, her outfit is very cool to me, and I think she's got a very pretty face. I like it. We have a figure of Lady Nagant from My Hero Academia, 1/8 scale, so a little small. Bellfine does make a lot of these My Hero Academia figures. This one does fit in line with the rest of them, thanks to that comic book text on the bottom, which I do like. I feel like from this one photo, it's not the most exciting figure they've made for My Hero, though I do think she looks cool. I like that her arm transforms into like a sniper rifle. That's kind of sick. We also have a figure of Izumo Tenka, Chinese dress version from Demon Slave. She's a cool character, though. Haven't seen that show yet, I just like her design. And then another figure of Silveria Bless, another swimsuit version, and this one actually does look like a swimsuit. She's also going to be a 1/6 scale, so I do expect this to have a pretty decent presence, especially for a swimsuit figure without like a extravagant base with a bunch of stuff all around it, because they're keeping it relatively simple from what we could tell so far. But yeah, not the best photo. I do like the design of the boots, and like the bikini's relatively simple. She's got like a top over it that she's taken off, and there's like a belt crossed over the stomach. I don't know. Need to see more of that. What else do we have? We got a figure. Oh, from 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, that girl again, Liliel, True Angel Form version. I think this outfit's slightly different, but since I recorded that other part yesterday, I don't have the whole thing memorized right now. I do remember the angel wings, but maybe it's like a slightly different suit. I don't remember the skirt, but hey, she's already getting 2 figures, and the show has only just begun. And then there's a figure from Bunny Garden of Rin. That's that game, right? That's that very popular game. I don't remember which one Rin is. I'm gonna look that up very quickly. Alright, Rin seems to be the yellow one, and I guess she's very popular if she's getting the figures first. Interesting that they went with this pose, but maybe it's like a scene from the game. I haven't really watched much of it. I'm just aware of its presence. Also, at this point, it's kind of like come and gone, but, you know, maybe I'll come across it one day and give it a curiosity play. I don't know. We also had this huge figure of Pinocchio comic version from Blackjack, which I think is very cool. Just getting figures from a classic manga. I'm glad I double checked because I almost skipped this whole page entirely, and I feel like there's probably some pretty good stuff on here. So let's talk about Stronger. Now, we do have Prisma Ilia's racing figure already, but they're making a Chloe Kudo figure. This one's in the works. Seems pretty much done. I know I've seen better photos of it, so I'll give you a better shot for you guys to appreciate. But the Kudo figure looks pretty cute. I do like the colors of this figure. Do like the gloss of the outfit. The pink of the hair looks really nice. The inside, that like plush material, or simulating a plush material. I think her outfit looks great. Probably even a little bit better than Ilia's if I had to pick a favorite. From HobbyMax, we got the version 3s or part 3s of the Radio Eva line, which frankly I feel like the hype behind this stuff is kind of dwindling a little bit. It's Eva, so it's always going to be popular, don't get me wrong, but I feel like part 2 is where the company really hit their stride and just like, I don't know, won a lot of people over. That being said, I think this design for Rei is my favorite of the 3. I don't think I would buy it just because I already have a Rei figure I really like, but I do love the plaid shirt and the beanie as a beanie enthusiast. They're doing the thing where they're doing a monochrome version as well. Really not too big of a difference on this figure outside of the hair, of course, but I've always been a fan of just picking up the normal version of the figure, though maybe her hair is a little bit too saturated right now. I'm not sure. There's definitely like different art styles for Rei where it looks brighter or duller or less saturated depending on who draws it, and there'll always be preferences depending on the individual. They also showed off their Asuka version, which I like a lot. Love her leggings with the text written all over it. Can't really read it, but I think that's super stylish. This figure's great. I might even like it more than the Part 2 one that I own, but I really don't think I need another one, because Alter's also working on an Asuka with, I think, the eye patch, and I feel like I want that one a little bit more, but kind of love this. It's a unique pose, too, because she's squatting down, and once again, I think the monochrome version, while cool, isn't as, you know, enticing as the normal color one, but that's just me. That's just how I roll. That's fine if you don't. Please help me escape this gallery. From Proof, we have a couple of figures. One from Oh My Goddess, Belle Dandy. Classic show, classic character. Look at the flow of this outfit. The physics are on point. I love how they've made the base, like, just the fabric of her dress so that she's actually floating on an island. That's awesome. That's such a good idea. Such a smart use of, like, the character's outfit as well. The only thing I guess I don't like is the blue, like, of her outfit. Doesn't look like it has any shading on it. This looks very flat up here. I don't know, even like the white looks more shaded than the blue, which is odd, but maybe that's how it's supposed to be. You guys can let me know. We also have this figure, Akebi Komichi, which has already been up for pre-order for like 2 months now, so they're just showing it off. We have a new Rurouni Kenshin figure, which kind of looks pretty similar to the Kotobukiya one, except we got a bunch of these like autumn leaves incorporated into the swinging wind effects, which is pretty sick. And I like that Kenshin's got a nice fierce expression here. If you're gonna make a figure like this, you gotta go hard on the expression, and I like that they did that. Don't know if that one's up for pre-order yet. We got a Rosen Maiden figure of Shinku, very cute. This is a show that I probably should have watched back in the day, but never did, so my knowledge is embarrassingly low, but I would assume she's like a doll coming out of a suitcase, very nicely padded suitcase. You got that stained glass window behind her, which I love. You got a bunch of roses, which look really well painted on the bottom there, and her hair looks great, very airy. Really like this all around. The colors are fantastic, but unfortunately not a figure for me. We got Levi and Monkey Trouble. This one I think also went up for pre-order like a day or two ago. Don't remember the price, unfortunately. It was pretty expensive, but I think under 40,000 yen. Levi looks sick. I love the leap. I love how he's upside down and the wind trail behind him, but the bottom portion of the figure, Monkey Trouble, Beast Titan, he just looks so lifeless there. I don't love that. There also needs to be some like smoke clouds on the bottom or something. That black disc really just takes away the life of this figure, and it's a real shame because it's a great idea. Such a memorable moment from Shingeki, but like, they didn't do enough with it. There's no blood on this figure, which would have went a long way, or some like battle damage, even just like some ripped part of the clothes or something, or some scuffs at the very least. It's a cool idea. Could have been awesome, but they just missed a couple of steps, which I feel like kind of lowers the value of this one a little bit. We have a relaxation version of Kana. Adorable. Don't know what this outfit is. I like her really fluffy socks though, but she's also like chilling on the beanbag pillow off to the side. She was playing with like a coloring book or something. Her face looks pretty good too, which is sometimes an issue. So ton of promise here. Hopefully they color it in a nice way, and then that'll be a pretty dang good Kana figure. We also have a non-scale of Eto Ranze from Tokimeki Tonight, who I don't know. Okay, so we have WingsInc, which is not to be confused with Wing, totally different. Believe WingsInc is based in China. First up, we have Musashi from Azure Lane. This one is extravagant. There is so much going on, from the armor panels in the back to the katanas, which almost look like they're ready to deploy and just like shoot out for whatever reason. One of the katanas is off to the other side, just like encased in lightning, which is sick. I guess that's like the main weapon there. Love these huge beads that are like around both of her wrists. Also, maybe this is a Magatama, looks like it to me, but could be wrong. I guess she's a fox girl because her tails are massive and there's multiple of them. Her shoes are goofy as hell. They're massive, way bigger than her feet. I don't know how she walks in those things, but I'm sure she finds a way. And then there's a lot of like leg focus, very attractive legs. Yeah, beautiful looking figure. Probably gonna cost a ton. But you know what? I think WingsInc's prices aren't actually that bad, so maybe you might get lucky on that one. We also have Suyu from Suave. I have no doubt this will be a pretty popular figure if they keep the price reasonable. I doubt it'll be as cheap as like their Samurai Girl, which just like flew off the shelves, but even if she was like 20 to 22 or something like that, which might be reasonable considering, like, yeah, there's a lot of detail in the outfit, but she's also not really wearing that much. A lot of the cost probably is in the dragon tail, just because of the way it's like segmented and all spiky and gonna be textured. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna cut myself off because I did look up the art and she's wearing way more than I thought she was, and it's a little bit more detailed than this figure's like prototype was letting on. So yeah, I'm just an idiot. But you know, it's an honest mistake. When you look at this art and you look at her arms and her legs and then like the sleeves, you don't really get the impression that like a ton is going on, but then you realize, oh yeah, this is like highly detailed. This is a very intricate design. Like even these like knee pads or like knee armor is just like really fancy looking. So yeah, she might cost a little bit more than I'm expecting, but I still think if it's an okay price, this one's gonna be super popular. We also have a very tiny little cat girl, I believe. Shinano-chan from Azure Lane with her big pillow. This one's adorable. A lot of layering to it, and her hair looks nice and fluffy. Ears too, probably gonna be a very cute one when they're done with it. Wonder what the scale is gonna be, because it looks very tiny. Like if it's a 1/8 scale, is it gonna be like an inch taller than a Nendo? I wouldn't be surprised considering the proportions here, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Wrapping up WingsInc though, we also had a swimsuit figure of Helena, shimmering triangle wave version, looks very pretty, love her hair sculpt and the tropical drink off to the side, and then 2 figures of Jane Doe, Stigma version, which I don't know if this is the same figure, or if it's like 2 separate releases, though considering both of them are a bit skeletal, and the only real difference is the hood that you could put on her, I'm gonna guess they're just showing off both options that the figure can have. She looks a little creepy, but in a way that's not like super off-putting for me personally. And then this is probably an old announcement, but Blue Archives Serika is getting a 1/7 scale. We're almost done with this page, but we have our treasure left, another Mahito figure. So I guess what I was saying earlier is just wrong. They're starting to make more figures of Mahito and the other characters. So from Onimai, we have a 1/8 scale figure and garage kit of Mahito, which I think means, because they've done this before, you could either buy a fully painted version of this figure or one that's like half done and then you paint it yourself. And then another one of these figures from Fake Grand Order of Castor, Charlotte, Corday. I guess this one looks a little bit more basic, very flat in comparison, but maybe I'm just playing favoritism because the art style here looks a little bit better and a little less compromised, but I don't know. It's a cute outfit for sure, but I guess all the white portions of this figure makes it look a little bit more flat, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. So that's it for that page. Let's get another. From Vertex, they're continuing their Elf Village line, not the Dark Elves, unfortunately. And I think what they're doing here is making like swimsuit versions for some of the elves. That's kind of the impression I'm getting from these photos. So we have the 8th villager Cecile as well as the 5th villager Kukuru. They're both wearing swimsuits. The unpainted ones, I'm assuming, is what they're talking about because of this figure, the 4th villager Priscilla, who I'm pretty sure I've seen a figure of in the past, and I think I might have even talked about it in a pre-order roundup. So I'm gonna guess that's what's going on here, but if I'm wrong, be sure to let me know, because that can happen from time to time. There's a lot of stuff we're talking about today, and I can't know everything. From Orca Toys, more Urza Scarlet. They love her. We're getting some bunny figures, the high kick version. Pretty cool looking, honestly. You can either get a red bunny suit or a white bunny suit, and the flames are differently colored depending on which one you go for. Same with the swords, actually. And I like that she's stepping down with such force that she's actually breaking the stone. Pretty sick for a bunny figure. I like what they're doing there. And there's also a black one, apparently. So there you go. She's got a dish instead, which might make a little bit more sense, but losing the katana you might not want, so you're gonna have to pick your battles here. But they're all pretty good options. QSix is making a figure from Symphogear of Maria, a pretty straightforward yet sexy looking bikini. They did change her face, her expression's different here, but you might also get a second faceplate because companies tend to do that. We're also, I feel like this is a bit of a surprise, getting a figure from Plus Sized Elf. Now the anime is currently airing, so that makes sense that this would happen now, but I guess I just didn't see it happening. You know, the manga's been going on for a while, seems like it's pretty popular, but the anime, I feel like they're kind of not doing a great job from what I've seen. Very, like, low budget, unfortunately, because the artist is great. You know, his work's fantastic, but not so much the anime. But they're making El Fuda here, so I honestly think that's pretty cool. I got a buddy who loves this series, so I'll give it a read one day. Not a watch, but a read. So, yeah. Anyway, we have some more figures on the way. Just some announcements, though. Unfortunately, no prototypes, but some stuff to look forward to from QSix when they're done cooking. And then we had 2 figures from Daiki Kyogo, one from Azur Lane, actually. Amazing design, love her. This is Prinz Henrich, secret boss of the underworld. Not fully convinced with the paint so far, but the outfit, the expression, the face, love all of that. Shading on the legs look nice too. Very attractive figure, but not really sure if I would get into it. But I do like this. One of the few Azur Lane figures that's sticking out to me, but mostly just because I like the character design. And then we had a pretty simple looking figure of Tomoe Sakura, swimsuit version. Seemingly will be a cast-off, just based off of this sculpt and like the way the bikini looks. Both the top and the bottom will probably come off if I had to guess. But yeah, that's it from them. Alright, so Apex Toys. I don't want to save them for last. They have a ton of stuff, so let's talk about them now. First up, a rather sexy looking one, we have Owari Shimmering Forsythia version from Azur Lane. I mean, my god, is this one not the most, like, straight to the point figure we've seen today. She's laying on the bed so seductively. The dress is, like, as thin and just, like, tiny as could possibly be. Her expression is certainly very inviting and seductive, might I add. And obviously, she's on the bed. Like, what else do I have to say? Of course, there's also some manjus down there, just keeping her company. Rubbing her legs and butt, too, for whatever reason. But yeah, just really nice shading on the body. I guess that's like the real highlight here, is just like the skin shading. Looks amazing. Hair as well. Really like her hair. The braided ponytail looks very nice. Her horns are super cool. A lot of dangling gold jewelry. And then seemingly some pearlescent paint for the heels. And then like that little cloth around her ankle, and the dress, of course. I really like the color palette here. It's not doing too much, it's just a couple of colors, but I do find it very effective. This is quite an alluring figure. Also, her hand gesture, whatever she's doing, probably a bit suggestive too. We have a figure of Noshiro, Uncharted Festival Grounds version, question mark. She's gone out to a festival. She's got the candy apple with a cute kimono style outfit and a skirt on top of that to make it even cuter. I've always liked her design, but I am a sucker for like the Oni girls, girls with horns, and like all of her figures do look pretty good to me. Just haven't bit the bullet on any of them. Very curious to see what the colors of this figure are going to be, how they paint the base, like the rocks that she's walking over. Not sure if there's water on the bottom of that base, but yeah, I think this one's kind of pretty. I like her hair sculpt too, the way it's flowing out. Just her strands of hair look really great. But yeah, I guess we'll have to wait to see the colors on that one. We have a figure of Anchorage, Dolphins and Swim Lesson version. I was going to skip talking about the cell phone. Didn't make sense to me, but whatever. But if she's literally going to be over the water with it, just asking for trouble. Seems like the bikini top has just come off, so that's important knowledge to have. I do like the outfit, though, what has remained on her body. A very frilly top as it drapes off of the Orca. Now I know it's an Orca. But yeah, I do love the color palette of this figure. I do love the attention to detail on the inflatable, just to make it look as realistic as possible along this line, the seam, you know what I mean? And I guess while I do have the art pulled up, it does seem like the leggings actually did get wet. And I do hope that that carries over into the figure. They make the leggings look wet and a little bit see-through, transparent. That would make this figure look even better. Moving on, they're making a new Bremerton as well as a formidable figure, both pretty exciting. She seems to have some kind of like letter between her cleavage, which is pretty fun, but also that like, I always forget what this thing is called. It's like a boa or a shawl or something. I'll go with boa this time, but it's probably wrong. But that fluffy material will mean that you can take it off if you don't like it. But they also do come with these little benches that they get to kneel and sit on. Very attractive. Love Bremerton's hearts glasses, just like the Kaide figure. It's really close to joining my list. Like, I feel like I probably wouldn't get it. Like, I don't need it. And frankly, I think I like Formidable's figure a little bit more, even though Bremerton is like my favorite of the Azur Lane characters, but I don't know, should I be a party pooper? I haven't even talked about that mission since like day 2 of my recording, and I feel like it's been a while since I added something. But yeah, we got the original art here, just looking at the colors and whatnot. I think these will definitely be great figures, but yeah, would I actually get him? We have a bunch of these Zozo Town collaboration figures, which isn't the first time we're seeing a Zozo Town collab, though I think it's the first time that Apex has done it. Previously, it was Union Creative, and I was not really impressed with the outcome of those figures, but these certainly look promising. I like New Jerseys a lot. The fishnets are very unique, and I think they're making 3 additional ones down here, though just the announcement. So you got Ulrich, Noshiro, and Shimakaze. This one's kind of wild for Noshiro. I feel like this is the sexiest Noshiro figure I have seen to date. We got some more announcements though. Charybdis still illustration version, as well as Anchorage still illustration version, which are the other 2 characters that were in this art. So I guess they're completing the entire set. And now you know what they're going to look like if you didn't previously. So moving on, Zenless Zen Zero already has 4 figures in the works. One of them is fully painted. Now these were shown off about like 3 weeks ago or something like that, maybe around the launch of the game, which I do not recall what week that was. But we have 4 currently in the works. Anbi, who is fully painted and looks quite nice, might I add, Billy Kid, Nekomiya, and Nicole. Kind of wish the mechanic was here. I think her name is like Grace Howard or something, very funny name. Aura Ellen Joe, the Shark Girl. But I think all of these sculpts look pretty dang good, and it's nice to see them actually jump on this franchise immediately. Meanwhile, Genshin is just left to rot. It is kind of humorous and a little weird that Genshin just, I don't know, they get a figure every 2 years or something. It's such a slow drip feed. Very surprising, but what can you do? Either way, we have a 1/7 scale figure of Natsume Iroha from Blue Archive. This one is fully painted. Very cute looking figure, love the colors, and I really like her fluffy hair. I think we've spent a long time on this page, and I think we have a ton more to go, unfortunately, so we're going to speed up slightly. We're also getting some more League of Legends figures, Ari and Kaisa in the KDA All Out series. So yeah, 1/7 scale. They made a ton of these League of Legends figures, though I'm not sure if these are in the exact same line as the others. We also have those Gridman Universe crossover figures of Takarada Rika as well as Yume Minami. These are Chinese dress versions, pretty self-explanatory, slightly different in terms of their setup. You got like this lotus flower table, maybe, or maybe it's just a flower in general, hard to say. And then Yume's got this little table that she's leaning against, very pretty, a little different for the Gridman series. And then they're also making an Akane to go alongside with the sets. Might be my favorite one based off the art, but we'll see how it turns out. I just like this pose. I think she looks really attractive there. Every now and then you see these come out from Apex. They like to make these spring bouncy figures. One for New Jersey and one for Le Malin is on the way. These seem like pretty cute little desk accessories, but I don't own any of them personally. But I do like their designs. They seem to be pretty well made considering they're also fairly cheap. We have a Sengoku Yoko figure of Yamato and Tama, which I remember last time seeing. The prototype looked pretty dang good, but I was like slightly, somewhat jokingly bitter about this because I really like Spirit Circle and Biscuit Hammer, both of this manga's writer's previous works, or maybe they came around the same time. I don't remember which came first or last, but really love those series and the characters, but this one never really pulled me in. But it's a great looking figure so far. I like the dynamism, I like the energy behind this one. They got Tama suspended in midair. I think she's either like on a rock by her foot over here, or this like energy swirl is lifting her up. It's a little hard to say with one photo, but it does seem pretty seamless in its execution. And I like the fur texture on the tails, and I really like this dude's hair, how like zigzaggy it is. Makes him look a little bit more wild, which I think is the intention. So yeah, super cool, but I'm always going to be jealous about that one. And then we had a prototype shown off for ZZ. Probably said that wrong considering the spelling's different, but 3 body. Unfamiliar with character and franchise. Seems very pretty though. Also seems like you'll get a big fan in the background here, but they're using an acrylic piece to kind of just demonstrate that right now. They've actually got the branch just like floating in the air, actually that's kind of sick. So the fan is keeping that up, and the fan is stuck into this piece down here. Really elegantly done. That's the most exciting thing about this figure in my opinion. But obviously the girl is very pretty as well. Moving on though, I saw this earlier. We're actually getting unicorn overlord figures. Now this freaking art is like, of course they would pick this, but also I love Vanillaware characters, so this, maybe I'll add this to my list. I don't know if I would definitely get this, but considering it's Apex, I could use an Apex figure in my collection, and I just love like Vanillaware games and characters. I'll give it a +1. So what are we at, like 6 out of 5 right now? That's kind of good. I have a notepad over there, but I'll add it to my screen when I'm editing. I don't know if I love the art that they're going for here, like the battle damage and the ass focus is obviously appealing in its own right, but I don't know, I just don't know if that's like gonna be my favorite thing at the end of the day, but I'll trust them to make a good figure. Though I'm kind of surprised they didn't just make like one of the elves, like the dark elf. I've seen her all the time. That probably would have been an immediate +1, but if this sells well, then I'm assuming they'll make even more of these Unicorn Overlord figures. Very cool though. We also have a figure from Brown Dust 2. Her name's kind of crazy. She looks like a spy of some sorts, just trapped in lasers. It'll be fun if they actually find a way to incorporate the lasers into the design, though I feel like that'll be pretty tricky, so I don't know how they would pull that off. Apex Toys Lime Pie. I don't know what that is. I guess it's a series going off the description down there, but we have a new figure of Unicorn, the Angelic Nurse version. Maybe this is like a cheaper line of figures. Not that Apex Toys made expensive figures, but maybe this will just be like half the price or something, even though it doesn't really seem too compromised. It's just simple in execution. But I do think it's cute. I like her expression as she's hiding behind the clipboard, and I think her sweater has some nice texturing to it. But yeah, definitely need some more information there. We also have some swimsuit figures of Takao, and my god, if the page would work, it is not, and Atago. So Summer March versions. I'm gonna guess these will be on the cheaper side, because so far we're seeing some pretty straightforward but nice looking figures. This one is maybe the most complex, the Chokai, Tidy Store, Tidy Mind version, but even so, they're not really doing too much here in comparison to their normal figures. You just got the staircase, or whatever it is that she's wiping down, and then like a little bit of a, I guess, brick or wooden floor, you know, just simple made outfit otherwise, but, you know, still looks promising. Just have no idea what they're doing, unfortunately. And then an apple. Okay, apple with glasses, also part of the Lime Pie line. Moving on though, we have another Lime Pie, a 1/8 scale of Rin from Muse Dash, which this design's pretty good, and I do like the cast of Muse Dash, even though I don't think there's too many girls, like 3 or so, but all of them do have pretty fun designs, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that one turns out. And then another Unicorn Overlord figure of Virginia. This design's not really as exciting for me. Compared to like so many other characters in that game, this one is just not really doing it for me, but maybe she's a cool character. Maybe when I get around to playing it, I'll turn around on this one. But right now, not like super excited about that figure. And then they also seemingly had some posable figures, or just one, the Arctech line. We have Laffy. Here's a look at it. 1/8 scale though, so pretty big for a posable figure. Usually they're like 1/10 or 1/12 even. Well, that'll like even fit alongside your normal figures. So that's kind of cool. Elegance also had a few figures at this event. We had Kashino Made for Mayhem version. I do recall this one, but I'm guessing this is the first time that she's painted. Cute, yet simple figure, nothing to really discuss. We have a figure 1/7 scale of Devil Sonico. Another pretty straightforward one. You probably know if you like this or not. I guess the only thing you might have missed are the sleeves, because it really doesn't look like she's wearing that much otherwise. There's a band around her leg here and the thigh highs, but, you know, Devil Sonico, what's not to like? And then finally, another Elena figure, which looks so similar to another one I've seen. Don't know the company that made it, but it's because of those like smoky clouds on the bottom. But she is accompanied by a bunch of umbrellas, which is different, and she's also holding on to one. But yeah, that's gonna do it for Elegant and this page, which was a pretty big one. But you know what, with that, I'm feeling pretty satisfied with this event. I think I covered pretty much everything I really wanted to. Now granted, still got some stuff to show, but the major players, I feel like I've covered all my bases here. So I think at this point, we're in the victory lap phase of the video. Pretty much just showing off what the various other companies are putting out and what you can look forward to in the coming months or years, depending on how long they take to make them. But yeah, right now this is SSR figure, which sometimes does make an appearance on Good Smile Company's page, usually for pretty cheap prices. A lot of OCs in the work. We got Hasuki, never heard of them before, but they're making a 1/6 scale Dakimakura figure of St. Louis. Hand seemingly going into the danger zone, so I guess we'll find out what that's about when it's painted. Some 1/12 scale figures. We got Pink Mango, who are pretty sure a +18 company, but these two figures I'm pretty sure I could just show off without getting in trouble. A little risky, but not too bad at all. We got Gentleman working on some Erotics Gear Girl. Bibi Buttons had a few figures to show off, like their 1/6 scale Mirai-chan Chikoku Sunzen Panchira version. Very familiar scenario playing out if you're a fan of anime in general. Everybody literally has seen this play out at some point. There's also this Goman-kan Usami Kaiyodo figure in the works, just the prototype though. Digigirl is putting out a Jirai-chan figure, fully painted, ready to go, has a second faceplate if you don't want the mask, and you get that, I think, Girly K fashion. Also some additional figures by them, but they're still early in development. But yeah, High Heels and Lollipop, as well as Shima Tabi. Next up is AlphaMax. Wouldn't be surprised if I have to skip some of these just because of the stuff they make sometimes, as well as Skytube. But we have a 1/4 scale of Indomitable, Miss Motivationless Maid. Is that supposed to be her cell phone? Is she taking a pic of her butt? That's not reflective, right? That looks more like a piece of art on the phone, but it's supposed to be her taking a shot of her tush for whatever reason. We also have a figure, another 1/4 scale of Takao, The Lessons of Spring. Gonna get a nice umbrella with this one, though seems a little rough right now. I'm sure they'll tidy it up in the future. A 1/7 scale of Rika in a swimsuit, as well as Akane. Genuinely thought the first time I saw this figure from a distance, in fact, let me just back out a little bit. Like when I was scrolling, I thought she was pregnant, like just because she's holding it right there and pushing up against her chest, but ain't the case, just a beach ball. We're good. It says Skytube, but this is definitely Skytube as it is labeled right here. There is a 1/7 scale of Kagarino Kire lingerie version, which looks pretty simple. Not sure if they're showing anything there. I'm gonna censor that just in case, because I can't really tell. And then a 1/6 scale of Towa Yuketsu version, Slow Damage. Just many knife wounds, not really my kind of thing. Eusun. Not sure how you say that, but we got some OCs. Again, we're seeing the arts with the figures that they're working on side by side, which is pretty good. Gives you a better sense of what they're doing here. Some 1/6 scales of this Sahara Mafuyu girl. This one is the Rainy Days figure. The cute little cat. Looks like a little rose in the cat's mouth. I like the sign that you're getting with this figure, which wasn't even in the art, just to make it feel more like the streets of Japan, I suppose. You got this sleepy girl in the shopping cart, which is pretty cute. The Sleep Demon Nonos, even drooling a little bit. And then there is Figure Guitar Sister. Which one is better version? I don't know if this is related to those like Mei figures. Maybe it is. It looks somewhat similar, but not gonna make that claim because I'm unfamiliar. But yeah, the concept is choosing which panties are the best, I suppose, with one dangling out of her mouth. We have Magi Arts with a figure of Sophia F. Shearing. I think this is the first one we've seen today. I know there's more. I'm surprised I haven't seen any others, but she has so many figures at this point. It's starting to get a little tiresome, but this one's definitely very creative in comparison to a lot of them. This nun outfit that she's wearing, the huge cross behind her. I think this figure is even up for pre-order already, so there's really no reason for me to talk about it right now. But I'm just saying I like it. The huge cross makes me think of either like Guilty Gear or Trigun, because that's been fresh on my mind. But yeah, I do dig that. We also have a figure of Yomomo Mami, who I don't know from the Bunny Suit Planning line, because we always see Sophia. So hey, maybe I'll actually learn something about this line of characters once we get more figures like that. There's a 1/6 scale of Yami Yugi which is something I believe we've seen before. He might even be up for pre-order at this point too. He looks cool, but not really within that art style of the original series, and I just can't really get behind Yu-Gi-Oh figures like that. Like, I don't want to knock this figure, it's just not for me personally. I just love the OG art so much, especially for like the original cast and all of that. But it does look really nice. I like how glossy his pants and his coat are, and the aggressive flow of the Millennium Puzzle and his jacket does add to this like sense of dynamism. It's cool. It's definitely cool, just not really for me. And then we had a figure of Telebunny, which frankly I find appealing. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just the art style, but I like this little setup. I think it's cute. Wouldn't buy it, but I do think it's good. A lot of Toho from Magi Arts. They've been making a lot of them lately, and we're starting to see the fruits of their labor. So we got Reimu here. 4 faceplates, 5 if you include the one that's actually on the figure, because I'm pretty sure that's different. A lot of talismans on display here, spinning around her feet. She's got one in her hand, of course. The Gohei wand just kind of flowing behind her. Hair is very dynamically flowing. It's definitely a very lively one with a really nice sculpt. I'm just not sure how much I like the art style of this Reimu, like her faces. Not really my favorite, but I think this is a rather nice one if you do dig this art style. Plus you get so much stuff too, which is so rare. More of these like PVC scale figures need to include extra faceplates like this. Also, I'm stuck in the gallery once again. We also have a figure of Sakuya. This one is up for pre-order right now. I think it went up for pre-order this month, so we'll talk about it soon. I'm just gonna say, I don't really like this style for her. This like slightly more sexual Sakuya is not really for me. I just don't really see the Toho characters like that for like any of them, but that's just me personally. So this figure doesn't really resemble her enough for my liking. They're also making a figure of Koishi. Now this one's a little different than most of her figures because they're not doing the thing with the eyeball where the wire is like circling the figure or making an interesting shape. The eyeball is actually on the base itself, but it's just closed down there, and then I guess most of the movement are these thorns on the bottom of the base. The base itself actually looks pretty good, and again, 3 faceplates on this one. I really do appreciate that. The wide range of expressions here is very commendable, and frankly, out of the 3 we've seen so far, I feel like this one is the best painted. Her hair, her dress, and her leggings all look fantastic. But one, I don't really like this art style for her face again, just not really what I'm looking for in a Toho figure. And I also don't really know why she's on the phone. I don't know Toho lore. Maybe that makes sense, but I just played the games, get my ass beat, try again, skip the cutscenes, skip the story, because I'm just there for the bullet hell, but I don't actually know. So I guess if you do, let me know about that, but unfortunately, I'm kind of left in the dark. And then we have Yuyuko, which I would say is probably my most like interested figure out of this batch. Like, I really do want a figure of her. I just haven't really found the right one, and I feel like this one sticks enough to her like original look where I feel like, hey, I can get this, I might like this one. The blues look really soft on the eyes, the floral pattern is nicely printed, the pink of her hair is a nice contrast with the rest of the palette. It's very pretty. I like the base too, submerged in a lake with the tree poking out, some flowers blooming, but not too many. Maybe it's like the start of spring or something. She does have a second faceplate. I wouldn't expect her to have anything too crazy, so a closed eye expression seems like a good fit for her. I'll keep an eye out on this one. I'm not like fully convinced, but it's definitely a maybe right now. I just need to know more. I need to see more close-up shots of it, but I would love to add a figure of her to my collection. Should I add this to my list though? You know what? Sure, let's do it. And then you might have seen this one a second ago, but they are also making a Satori figure, which feels a little bit more expected compared to the Koishi one. But considering I already have QS's version, I think I'm okay with skipping out on this one. We're getting there, just a couple more pages left. We have Neon Max up next, one of my favorite artists, Saitom, putting out a Seidon OC figure, 1/6 scale. This is the girl with the Mio coat. I think there's some like butterflies incorporated into this one, and she's also wearing like a Chinese dress. Also kind of looks like a sweater, so it might be like a mix of both. But also the steamed buns. I think this figure will look very good, but unfortunately, it is not painted. We also have a figure from Tori Domino, my favorites back to back. This is the Noir-chan, which is like a sexy nun figure. Might even be like a devil nun for all I know because of the goat horns. Never really been the biggest fan of nun figures, just not really my style. This looks like a great figure for sure, but doubt I would pick it up, unfortunately. Thankfully, Tori Domino is making so many figures, or just designing them rather, so I'm okay. But the thickness is definitely very appealing there. And speaking of which, we also have Musashi still illustration version. So I guess there's a lot of these still illustration character designs, or just variations on the Azur Lane girls. This is actually a 1/4 scale, so this is going to take up a massive amount of space, but for some people, you're going to want to make that space for something so pretty and voluptuous. We also have a girl from Gakuen Idolmaster. This is Hanami Ume, very cute, but very simple. Just the school uniform, no idol outfit this time, so hopefully that keeps the figure a little bit more affordable. Then there's also Azur Lane's Ting On, light equipment version, so they're not even gonna commit to making those ship parts, which do, again, make these figures rather expensive. Just focusing on the beauty of the character. And then they're also working on a swimsuit version of Shimoe from Blue Archive. Moving on though, Space Mogura. This girl actually just went up for pre-order, but I do not remember her price, but I guess I'll maybe talk about that one in a couple of days, unless it's like ridiculously lewd in the gallery, but I guess won't know until I find out. But yeah, I guess this is like an OC section of the video from Space Mogura, so I'm expecting to see something that might get me in a little bit of trouble. This one could have been it, this very busty demon girl spreading her legs completely. But I think that's okay. I don't think I'll get in trouble for that. Surprisingly, there's also a figure from Maiden Abyss in this section. Just wasn't expecting that. But we have a figure of Maraluk. Hard name for me to say. Looks pretty good so far, you know, very promising sculpt, no paint unfortunately, but does seem to get the art style of Maiden Abyss down, so nothing to really complain about. Limland, I think, will probably get me maybe in trouble, but a lot of OCs in this section as well. Mimayoi, Limalin, this one's up for pre-order, we'll probably talk about it in a couple of days as well. 1/4 scale, looks massive. The close-up shots of that figure did look pretty good, but it's not fresh in my mind right now, so we'll circle back to that in a couple of days. I guess we'll talk about Hobby Sakura next. First up is their 2 Nikkei scales, one for Rupee, always a sucker for a good gyaru, and I love that she's just carrying like 20 bags and just a bunch of stuff that she bought behind her, very fun. And then there's also one for Sakura, who I'm not as familiar with, but she's got a cool design too. I like the kunai that she's holding on to. Also this coat, and a frog climbing up it for whatever reason. Very interesting. Need to learn my lore. They're also making a bunch of these chibi figures from Nikkei, which you might be interested in. Not sure if they're going to come with accessories or extra faceplates, but they do look goofy and pretty cute in their own right. This one isn't loading, but I guess clicking it did fix it. Schoolgirl, there you go, very busty. Showing off both thighs and bust, there you go. And then we also had a bunch of stuff that they don't tell me the name of, unfortunately, but it seems like Hobby Sakura is making quite a lot of stuff in the future, so look forward to that when we get some more information. I'm sure this information, though, is on MFC, so feel free to look it up there if you're interested in any of these designs. Lovely is some dangerous territory, so we're just gonna scroll past that very quickly. We also have Kurumizawa Racing Girl, which is a pretty cute race queen style figure. 1/4 scale, so very big. Not sure if she's from something, which might hurt this one a little bit. Every time I see a race queen figure, usually it's of the popular characters, and I don't really see a lot of OC race queens. They have to be tied to like a gacha game or a very popular anime to like pop off and sell a lot, but I wish them the best. The design was pretty good. A figure of Usamimi pulling on her bunny suit very suggestively. Also a demon girl too, thanks to the tail, and I dig her boots. Love long boots. They always look good on these figures. We have some additional figures here. Fang Li, this girl, the obedient Hina Verna. From Koi Koi, some simple looking figures, one again of Sophia F. Shearing in a bikini, and Cho Mocha, 1/6 scale, so pretty big. Shyness Bunny Hinata, not the best like lit photo, but you do get a sense of what this figure is all about. And then from KT Model Plus is another figure of Ryza, which we'll talk about in a couple of days because this one is up for pre-order. And then Mary Rose Steamy Venus version, which is a collaboration with Azur Lane. Seems like they're committing pretty hard to the original art outside of like the manjus, which were floating around the water, which is a little bit of a shame, but at least they got like the onsen, the hot spring, and all those leaves that were floating above the water. Hopefully looks good. KT Model does make some nice looking stuff, but it's always like super expensive. Our last page, I think I'll have to double check after this, but we got Prisma Wing, Golden Head, Alice Glint, and Ascendia. So let's see what they got. Let's see if there's anything I'm super interested in, or I think you guys might be as well. We have a 1/7 scale of Argus from Azur Lane, looking pretty. There's one of Henrich in the works. Her braided ponytail is absolutely massive, but I do like it. I like the outfit too. Should probably look a little bit more into this character just because I think she got a couple of figures at this event and I'm a little unfamiliar. There's a figure of Nekozuka Hibiki, who did go up for pre-order like 2 days ago. I think this one is like 18,000 yen, so very affordable. Looks nearly identical to the pop-up parade, just of a higher quality, a bigger scale. And I don't remember this bag being included with the pop-up parade, of course. A 1/7 scale of Plana is currently in the works from Blue Archive. This Kinako Cat Girl is getting another figure. There's the Kung Fu version of her. From artist Aiko, we have a figure of Nia, who looks pretty good. So Alice Glint had a ton of figures to show, like 20 or so if I counted correctly, but there is one that I'm very interested in. So I'm just gonna scroll down, show you guys what they're doing. This one's very pretty. I love the moon and the gears of the base, but unfamiliar with her, unfortunately. A lot of these figures do look very good. This one is just censored to hell, though I have seen it without the tape. I think there were just like hearts. I don't know if the bottom was covered, but it probably was. And this is, once again, gushing over Magical Girl. So that's like 4 or 5 figures from this event alone for this anime, which is pretty dang good out of nowhere. But yeah, this figure of Marcille is super cute. Love the witch getup that they put her in. I believe this is from the manga. I don't recall ever seeing this in the anime, but it's like one of those just art pieces that the artist draws like in the beginning of a chapter, maybe like chapter 4 or something. I think Fallen was also included in that piece of art, but I think this one's pretty precious. I don't know if it's better than the Good Smile Company one. That one's so like elaborate, though I feel like the face here is a little bit better. I think that was my main highlight, though. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff here that's very enticing to a lot of you guys, because there's Azur Lane showing up. There's some more Azur Lane showing up. Not showing her face for some reason. That's a little weird. But Massachusetts getting a figure. Okay. We'll zoom in on these just to get some better shots of what the art is that the figure will be based on. But very early days for these figures. More to come. Even more figures from Alice Glint. Brought a decent amount, announced a ton, good stuff on them. And then we also had Prisma Wing, which I'm kind of surprised I'm only getting to now, but I guess it was kind of buried at the event. This photo is not helpful at all. You know, I'll give you guys a better shot of her for sure. LTLX 7000 looks pretty cool, but I can't really see the details of this one. But knowing Prisma Wing, it'll cost like 70,000 yen. So why am I getting excited about it? We have a figure of Yuna from Kuma 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 Bear. This one's cute, mostly because of the extra bears included with the figure, because usually she just has the puppets, but I like that the other bears are included here as well. And I think her outfit this time is actually just going to be some like fabric, like cloth. Hard to say because this photo is so blurry, but that's certainly the impression I'm getting from the way it's folding. That doesn't look like plastic to me. There's some new figures of Luca and Rin, which I'm assuming are companion figures to go alongside with their first Miku that they released a while ago. I guess it came out not too long ago, but when it went up for pre-order, it feels like these like outfits that they're wearing match up with the Miku design. And they're very good, but again, I feel like I'm just gonna have to dig for photos right now and just edit the video with what I can find because I'm not really satisfied with what I'm showing you right now. But enough about that. 1/7 scale of Rem in a glass. Okay, we really didn't get too much Rem at this event. In fact, did we get any other Rem? We got a Ram, but the water dress version was already a thing. I'm kind of forgetting what else was shown last night, so I could be misremembering a rem that we totally talked about, but it kind of beats me right now. Echidna is also getting a glass edition. I really like the color on her dress. I don't really get the same impression that this figure was painted to like that degree, but the Echidna one, this like purple looks exquisite. Do you think they'll actually give you like a real glass, or will it just be like plastic? And it looks like glass. I feel like that's the safer play, but I wouldn't be upset if they made a actual glass and then shipped it out to you. Whatever. That would probably be a pain in the ass though, so I don't expect them to do that. We have a 1/7 scale of Tinatopia, which is a character I do not know. Who else do we have? A figure of Mira, who is looking pretty cute. Love the colors on this one. A lot of these Starry Night Sky patterns on the insides of clothing at this event, but I like that stuff a lot. From Tokyo Revengers, we have Hajime and Seishu. I think those are two separate figures, but they're kind of aligned so that they go together. I just remembered, though, that the big announcement from Prisma Wing for me was Ramlethal, because holy shit, they finally sculpted this? It actually took them like 2.5 years, maybe even 3 at this point, to finally show this goddamn figure. And I have seen photos of it up close, so I don't really need to look for them just to talk about it, but man, what a tease. It just sucks because I know I'm already priced out on this figure, so should I get excited about it? Not really, but for the sake of just clearing out our missions, making our goals a reality, we'll give it up. We'll put this on our list, which means we did both, all right? We got our 5 updates and our 5 new figures, but I know I'm not getting this, but I gotta give them their props for finally delivering on a cool-ass Ramlethal figure. Frankly, even if I wanted the Max Factory one, it would probably cost just as much as buying this, which makes me very sad. I don't think I'll go for it, but certainly it looks pretty badass. I love how the swords are just like stabbing into the ground, creating shockwaves, right? And while this photo I'm looking at's not the best, I know her face looks pretty good, and I'm just hoping the colors match up to the sculpt's quality, because yeah, it's definitely a banger. Really sick looking figure. And then a 1/7 scale figure of Red Blood Cell and Platelet from Cells at Work. Very cute setup here. Never really got into the show as much as other people did. I do like the concept, anime Osmosis Jones and all that, but I don't know, wasn't really for me. But I do like that they're making a random figure out of nowhere, and it looks pretty good. So, Prime 1 Studio, they got a couple of things here. Cammy, who I believe is already up for pre-order. They're also working on a Jury, which seems promising, but very early. Seems like you're gonna get the helmet when she's like on her bike, which is a sick idea. Was not expecting that. So that's a neat little update for you. And then they're making a huge Godzilla from Godzilla -1. Says non-scale down there, but expect this thing to be pretty damn freaking big. Ascendia is our last company on this page, and in fact might be the last ones that we talk about today. And they had one figure, which I thought looked very off, and that's this Sophia F. Shearing figure. Now, maybe I'm wrong here, but her head looks so tiny in comparison to her body. And I know for a fact that they like increased the bust on this figure by like a ridiculous degree, in my opinion, like way too much for no reason. And I'm gonna have to like find the art because I think I closed the tab, so give me a second really quick. Alright, so I got it. Here is the art that the figure is based on. Looks pretty good, looks pretty normal, looks pretty sexy, but as soon as you make a little bit of a comparison, something feels a little off. Now, we are zoomed in instead of getting the whole body shot on the official art, but even if you just look at her chest, man, it looks like they just increased those things by double, so that her boobs are like about to explode out of that top, which is a very small top, mind you, and I feel like they really did not need to do that. But worst of all, I just can't get over how like tiny her head looks here. But maybe I'm just thrown off because of the chest size just increasing so much. I don't know. But I'm really not too happy with this one. Not that I was really planning to get it, but I felt like something was immediately off as soon as I saw this figure that is in the works. But yeah, otherwise they had 3 other figures, which do look pretty good. Very boring bases though on these figures, which is a little disappointing, but not the biggest deal or anything. However, that is going to do it for our One Fest video. So yeah, I'm pretty ready to wrap up. I got a ton of editing to do to make sure this video is out hopefully by Wednesday. If I do it by Wednesday, I'll consider this mission accomplished. And speaking of which, we also hit our goals, so I guess I can't really say this event was too bad or anything. I had a good time making this video, even though it felt a little too long this time, but it is what it is. We'll work on that in the future. Frankly, One Fest lately is starting to feel like the Summer Games Fest, which is the replacement for E3, which was like the best thing ever. Back in the day, One Fest was the E3 of anime figures. Everybody showed up. But now Good Smile's doing their own thing, Mega House and Alter and Kotobukiya do their own thing, and it's like, I don't know, all the big players left, so it's a little hard to be as excited about One Fest, even though there's still so much at this event. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys thought about this event in the comments below, and I'll see you guys very soon for the next one, hopefully in a couple of days after this, because we got some work to do with the following videos. Later.